We're live.
All right.
There we go. Set us up
Yeah.
here full screen.
So yeah, we're kind of doing a special little mini stream here today. Kind of a new idea that we have. So Blake, you and I just recorded an episode for the channel. Actually, like the first episode that we've recorded in like 4 or 5 months. So that's pretty cool. So some people have been asking us about like when are we actually going to put out videos, like rather than just live streaming. So we got one coming out here soon. So just recorded it, and so I'm not exactly sure which day it's going to be out, but we definitely think we got a fun video for you guys. We can talk about that in a minute. But basically, the idea for this is that we're probably going to be recording a video once per week. Usually on Wednesday is what we're going to try to go for. And then as soon as we're done recording that video, we're going to go live. It's typically going to be in the evening or, I guess night here, probably on the later side. And just kind of do like a fun, laid-back mini stream. I think we called this Dynasty and Beers. So I brought a beer here. So we're going to just have a little fun, like hang out. We'll kind of preview the episode, the video that we just recorded, and basically tease that a little bit, and then just kind of like talk some Dynasty, talk whatever we feel like. Basically, just kind of like hang out and chill for a little bit. So yeah, that's basically the idea. But yeah, what did you think of that video we just recorded, Blake?
I thought it was like our best, especially for how fun it was, and what it was, the whole video without spilling out the secrets, whatever. But it was a lot of fun. I thought there was like some really good like actionable stuff there. Not
Yeah, I mean, I
only
think we
to
can basically say like what the concept of the video is, right? I mean, can we
sure,
get that much? Yeah.
yeah,
So basically, it's kind of like the classic blind comparison video. So we did six
yeah,
of them, and I think you guys will be pretty surprised by some of these, just like how similar
yeah,
each of the each of the players in the blind comps are to each other.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we got some good stats to back those up, and then when we do the reveal on each one, I mean, it's pretty crazy. Like once you hear the names and you realize like what a huge gap there is in dynasty value between those two players, it definitely, I think kind of like
Yeah.
people kind of have that light bulb go off and realize like, oh wait, I can just get this, dollar store version at a much better cost in my dynasty league. I don't have to pay up for the, fancy name brand version all the time.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and I mean, we covered a wide variety of players from all prices, and like honestly, two of yours actually, like, dude, when you were saying the last one, like I had just no clue of
Yeah,
like.
of like which one was like, more valuable, right?
Well, yeah, I completely even forgot because we had kind of spelled a little bit, but by that time I had literally no clue who you were talking about. Like I had just completely
Yeah.
forgotten.
Yeah, because like
Um,
with some of them, it's like the two players like the same age, same draft
yeah,
capital, very, very similar production,
yeah,
and it's like, why should these guys be worth like
yeah,
anything but like the exact same thing in Dynasty? And then you're like, oh wait, like one costs double, one costs like twice as much
yeah,
as the other, or sometimes even
yeah,
more. So it's pretty wild. So I do think that's going to be a really fun video for you guys.
yeah,
So I'm really excited that we're recording videos again. We took a kind of a little hiatus from the channel for a while where not only were we not recording videos, but like we weren't live streaming either. So, we've definitely been doing a lot of live streaming lately, but we wanted to get back to the videos as well. And so, we basically thinking in terms of like the schedule moving forward, we want to be like more consistent with things. And so the plan, and we'll see like how good we are about sticking to it. But the plan, like I already explained what it was for, Wednesday, record the video, do a little mini live stream after, and then every Sunday evening, we're going to do like our main live stream. So that'll probably, be somewhere around like 2 hours, give or take, especially when the two of us get yapping. And yeah, that'll be like the main like featured live stream of the week. And we're still trying to come up with a name for that. Like we kind of want to, give the show a name, the stream a name. So yeah, if you guys have any suggestions, definitely drop those in the comments. I don't even know if anyone's watching right now. We didn't really drop the link anywhere, so we're just kind of like testing this. So yeah, I don't know. I was just talking to Randy a minute ago, so I'm not sure if he's tuned in right now. I will pull up and see if we got anyone watching. Hey, we got 2 watching right now. Very nice. So, yeah. So Randy, if you're watching, good to have you here. Or regardless of who's watching, good to have you guys here. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, so yeah, I mean, let us know what you think of that schedule and just kind of the plan there. But I mean, we're really excited about it. I definitely feel like the channel's going in a good direction here. I've loved having all the guests on. I mean, that's just been so much fun lately.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep up with the guests because it's been a lot of fun getting our league mates, seeing who's behind the mask there, and then also, I mean, it would have been nice, because we're on a time crunch, we can't do our 2 hour, press conference with our, league manager, but if Randy, if you're watching, we were thinking that, oh man, maybe we should try to see if you want to hop on, but I got an exam tomorrow, so not less than ideal tonight, but we'll get you on soon. And then also,
we got to have Randy on. It sounds like he's down. He's got a busy schedule himself, but he said he would love to do it. So I would love to get Randy on here soon. So Randy, if you're watching, hopefully we can talk soon and maybe find a time that we get you to hop on one of these. So especially if it's like, Wednesday or Sunday, like that'd be amazing. I'd love to have you on the mainstream. So like if you're ever free on a Sunday evening, like that would be perfect. But
we'll make it work if we
can like work with your schedule.
We'll make it work or something. But I mean, I've been hearing a lot about these deals going down, and
oh my god, and King of the Hill. So
Joey
that's the league. It's like 12 teams, start 11, 2 PPR for tight ends. Of course, Superflex PPR, and so we got some new blood in there, and it's just really has injected a ton of life into this league, which was like previously probably like the deadest league that that I was in. And we got Joey Bradley joining the league. We met him on a live stream. I don't even know how he discovered our channel, but he asked us like, how do I get in a league with you guys? And lo and behold, he's in a league with us now. So that was super fun. Yeah, Joey's awesome. It's been so good having him in King of the Hill, where Randy's also in. And before, like, the only managers I could trade with in that league, I mean, like 90% of the time it was with just me and Randy doing deals with each other. And then, occasionally I do a deal with Born Goat, who's also awesome. He's not quite as active as like Randy and I, but still an awesome league mate. Love to have him on sometime as well. But usually it's Randy and I making deals, and all of a sudden we got Joey Bradley in, new to Dynasty, but like he's very smart, very savvy, and his team's going in a rebuild. Like he's been making deals left and right, probably even more deals than me, which is saying something. And then we also got Nishila in from NFL Madness, the league of ours that we were in that folded, unfortunately. So he's happy to have a new Dynasty league now. And I mean, trades have been flying left and right. In fact, Randy just came up with a 4-way trade that he sent to me. I wasn't interested. I don't want to reveal why, because it would actually spoil our video that we just recorded. So Randy, don't say anything about that.
We won't say anything more, really, but it was just that it was funny because we're about to record the video, and Dan shows me like, I got a 4-way trade, a 3-way trade, and I'm like, no, I think this is like a 4-way deal. I don't even like. It says there's another name, and then something to do with the trade kind of relates to the video. So
basically what the trade was asking me to do was the exact opposite of exactly what we were advising everyone to do in this video. So the timing of that was absolutely hilarious. Like definitely a moment of synchronicity there.
It's like Randy's too sharp.
Oh my god, dude, like Randy and I we like a lot of the same players. Like I recently just traded him Cedric Tillman in that league. And after we did the deal, he was like, not gonna lie, I'm like really high on Tillman, and I'm getting Nico Collins vibes. I'm like, oh my gosh, like Blake and I have been saying that like ever since like last season when he had that hot 3-game stretch. So we definitely like a lot of the same players. We're also talking about like Alec Pierce because he traded me Alec Pierce, and we're having a fun conversation. That reminds me. I was like, well, I won't reveal the players, but we're also gonna have a fun new segment at the end of every Sunday live stream where we kind of, should I reveal it? I'll just reveal it. Basically, it's going to be kind of like a fantasy flashback where we just like share like some kind of like legendary like fantasy performance or hot stretch or story or whatever. I think it's gonna be fun. And certainly, if you've been playing fantasy football for a while, certainly anywhere close to as long as I have, which is basically like the last like 25 years basically. You're definitely going to enjoy some of these flashbacks.
Yeah.
So it's going to be at the end of every Sunday
Yeah.
live stream.
We'll catch every whatever, like 5 year period, because even think back within the last 5 years, we had like, was it like Greg Ward and the other, who's the other Eagles receiver there?
There was that one that had that like super hot out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Who was that guy?
I'm trying to remember
Travis
his name.
Fulgham.
Travis Fulgham. What did he have? Like 3 games? Like, I mean,
Yeah, it was just a few.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like, I'd love to know. I'm trying to remember what he was being traded for in Dynasty.
Oh my god.
I actually think I got him off waivers on like the one Dynasty league I was in when that happened.
Yeah, I like being relatively new to Dynasty still, like, because, well, we have a league mate, for example, he's been playing since 2007. I mean, that's like, all I can think of is when I heard that is like, could you imagine going back to 2007 and living through like everything that's happened just from like,
oh my god,
just to name some stuff off, the Ray Rice, like Adrian Peterson, like just I don't know, was
all those names. It's like oh man,
everything that they went through.
Dynasty when insert stud player was playing. It would have been so much fun. Like
what's happening to their, I don't even think there was like value really, like it's just kind of whatever you thought they were, but like what's happening to them when they're getting suspended, like stuff like that, or like I tears his ACL. I mean, my god, it would have been a different world.
Yeah, but like as a Lions fan, I think back and like, man, like wouldn't it have been fun to like play Dynasty when like Calvin Johnson was playing, or like Barry Sanders? Like, oh man, that would have been so much fun.
You wouldn't have been happy if you owned both of them, because especially if you traded for them, retiring out of the blue like that. So.
Oh god, yeah, that would have been a bummer. Talk about your value just going to zero like out of the blue. Like, my god, that would have been a bummer. But yeah, I think you can't complain too much the careers.
Yeah,
those guys maybe if you had them further, for Dynasty.
You gotta. I was like, this is something I've been thinking about. Is like, thinking back to like history, and it's just bound to repeat itself. Like, you just gotta not think about like the fact that, okay, if you own Jamar Chase, like, you gotta not think about how Calvin Johnson retired when he was what, like 29, 30 or something. He wasn't that old. Same with Barry or whatever, and all these other players. Like, you just gotta hope they're not the guy that gets the career-ending injuries, stuff like that, because there's literally no way to have the information to project that or whatever.
Yeah.
But Matt, like, there's so we should also like add, if there was just like or have like honorable mention with the Dynasty flashback of like a fantasy Dynasty, like, just maybe it's like a 0 to hero kind of thing, or like the opposite, like hero to 0.
Yeah.
Of like a player that in like a short period of time would have just been like their value, whatever. Spike or the opposite.
I already got the first one planned for the fantasy flashback or fantasy nostalgia, or whatever we're gonna call it. We'll pin down the exact name. I'm sure Randy knows what it is because we were just talking about it. And because I just found out that Randy's 21 years old, and I was surprised because he seems very mature. I wasn't expecting it, and I'm 41, so we're 20 years apart. But we would definitely see Dynasty very similarly. So, so I was kind of giving him a little bit of a fun history lesson. So, I think that'll be like a fun new segment, and I mean, I've been making a lot of trades in Dynasty lately. I definitely feel like things are heating up. I mean, have you been doing much like in your leagues, Blake? Yeah. I mean, like, have you been feeling things heat up, or have you just been like doing other things, or like what's going on with you?
Yeah, no, that's funny because you were mentioning. Well, we were talking about like kind of the bigger picture of like, you just get 1 or 2 good league mates to replace basically the bottom of the barrel deadbeats, which it sounds like happened in your league.
Yeah.
Like, things just change dramatically in leagues.
Yeah.
Now I've had to replace an orphan, and that guy came in, actually gave me 2 great offers, and we got a deal done, and that league got some nice life. He actually just traded for the 101, so that one's been relatively more dead, and we just kicked out the deadbeats. But my other league, even in that league actually too, like, there's moves I want to make.
Yeah.
But the issue is, I have absolutely zero incentive to trade away my 107 or something like that for
right now.
There's just literally no reason, especially just there's very much like small amount of trades where I would like do that or whatever it would.
It would have to be something really good because otherwise you're just gonna hold the pick as long as possible and just let it keep gaining value.
Yeah, like it would need to be like a up tier to just like CeeDee Lamb player like that. Otherwise, I'm not gonna go ahead and trade that away for Chase Brown. Like, why would I do that?
What would the cutoff be? Like, let's say you get the sleeper notification. Joe Schmo has proposed a trade for you. You open it up, and it's Nico Collins for the 107. I assume you're doing that.
Oh my God, yeah, dude, I do that for the 102.
Okay, so
basically.
where's that line for the 107? Drake London. You doing it for Drake London?
Well, I already own Drake London league, but like here's the context of the team is that the team has a bunch of Drake Londons, Garrett Wilsons, and Puka and stuff like that. So like my running backs has my boy Chuba, stuff like that. So like, I got the 102 as well. So like,
yeah.
What I don't know. There's just like not too much for me to do. Because it's either I tier up to like the 101, which just got traded for, or I try to tier up to like basically CeeDee Lamb.
So it's going to take like basically like a round one startup pick kind of player to really kind of entice you at this point.
Yeah, I mean like tight end I'm good. Like I have like Kelsey's probably like he's like my tight end 2.5. It's just like there's just zero reason for me. I mean, basically if I made a deal, I'd be like just putting myself at a disadvantage for the fun of trading, which, it can be fun, but I'm not going to do it with these big assets. So I'm waiting. In other leagues too, I got a lot of picks and stuff, or I have like teams that are filled out already, and it's just like, I just got to see what happens,
Yeah, so there's not much for you to do in that situation.
Yeah.
And I assume, like, just to be clear, like, obviously, like, if you had an opportunity to get like a CeeDee Lamb, like obviously you would add to the 107. Like you wouldn't expect to get that straight up or anything. So just to be clear on that.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of the 101 though, I actually just acquired a 101 share today in our Bums and Ball Knowers League. We always call it D10 because that was the original name of the league. Do you want to pull that up just for fun since that just happened?
Oh yeah, I can pull that up. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm excited because that is my third 101 share that I have. I'm in 10 Dynasty leagues. So pretty excited to, potentially be getting 3 shares of Ashton Jenny if I make the pick. I'm not going to be coy about that. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess you never know how things are going to play out. I mean, I'm going to stay flexible, but like I'm pretty excited about Genty. He seems pretty awesome.
Yeah, so here it was here. And so, yeah, for reference, this is kind of, this is basically, I think, like our $125 league.
Yeah, so it's a low buy-in. So, like, we're being a little more, like, just kind of, like, YOLO with this league. Yeah. Having fun with it, like, not taking it too seriously. Yeah. But we still want to win, of course. But basically, it's a 12-team, start 10, super flex PPR, and tight ends get 1.75 PPR total. So, pretty standard league for the most part, pretty standard dynasty league. And so basically I acquire the 101. I also get Blake Corum and Geno Smith in the deal.
And you own Kyron
Williams. So, I get the handcuff and I get Geno Smith to replace, the big asset that I'm giving away, which is Caleb Williams. So that's like the main thing I'm giving away. I also do have to give up a 26 first. It's projected late, but the interesting thing is that the team attached to it has an absolutely like loaded starting lineup, but like nothing on the bench. So Blake, I know that's the kind of team that you like to kind of low-key bet against, and like sometimes, you can get lucky with injuries, and that pick ends up being a lot higher than expected. So I didn't really think of that when I accepted the deal, but I think I would have accepted it either way. But in any case, I give up Caleb Williams as well as the handcuff, Tyson Bagent, also throwing Zach Wilson because the other manager owns Tua. So, he likes, I guess, he also likes having the handcuffs just like I do, at least in certain circumstances. And then, like I mentioned, that 26 projected late, maybe call it like mid to late.
Yeah. I mean, I think the deal's fair enough. Basically, this is a deal where I mean, I gotta assume like this is one you're doing in this $25 league because you want your Genty, war difference maker, Geno and Caleb. I mean, obviously Caleb's far better in value and stuff like that, but like. I mean, I could see a world where, like, probably Geno is better than like Caleb last year, just the same, or very close.
Probably similar, yeah.
Similar is the point. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's the point of this deal, and your perspective. If someone's looking at it, the way I broke it down is basically you gave, like, you swap 1-1 to Caleb, and you gave, a future first for Geno and Corum, but, like, you have, like, a zillion picks. like always. So,
Yeah, for
so
sure.
like you
Yeah,
kind of just
every week I got a million picks. That's just I can't help it.
so you kind of just chucked it around. You got your 101 share, and
Yeah.
you'll have Genty basically, and
Yeah,
didn't
and
mess
for
around.
context, my quarterbacks now are Jared Goff, Matt Stafford, and Geno Smith. I guess Geno would probably be my QB2. Maybe I can play matchups a little bit between like Geno and Stafford. I would be open to moving like one of my quarterbacks. I mean, heck, like if someone gave me an offer for Goff that I really liked, I could take it and then just rock with like Stafford and Geno. I mean, I've never
Who
had
would
a
that be?
quarterback room like that,
Yeah.
so that would be a little weird. But if someone wanted like overpay for Goff or whatever, I mean, at least consider it. But yeah, I mean, I'd rather trade Geno or Stafford. But honestly, like I think that's fine to have like a because like if your QB2 isn't a stud, then it's probably not a bad idea to have like a solid QB3 like Matt Stafford. So yeah, I don't really think I need to move any of those quarterbacks. Like I'm happy having all three of them. If I get an injury, I'll be fine, and I'll be good on the bye weeks. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. I think my team at least has a chance to contend this season. I think it's kind of starting to come together a little bit. Like, I mean, I think like the one thing I was missing prior to this trade was like a true like bona fide war difference making stud. And I might have that now in Ashton Genty. Of course, that's projection too, but I feel pretty good about him.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. By the way, I got a little idea here to pull up Trey because I never asked you. Maybe some advice because you're the Gibbs Lions fan here.
Oh yeah, I love Gibbs. Yeah, I love Gibbs.
So because this is the league where I was talking about the 112, 107, and so this guy offers me, and the thing it's like I'd like Gibbs. I would really like him, but I mean, it's a 102 and there's a lot you can do with that too, and just maybe the way I want to build my team is like I just would rather CD Lamb, stuff like that. Get the receiver, or just like keep pushing the first back, whatever it might be, or I just draft the 102 and again.
Oh man, and you're getting Jonnu Smith in the deal. I mean, like I'm probably like,
oh man,
I'm probably smashing accepting this. I mean,
so I smashed
Jonnu in the same deal. Like, come on, man.
See, I smashed no. I said not unreasonable. Obviously, Gibbs is hot, but I mean it's the 102, and like Christian Kirk doesn't really matter, but then
come
man,
on, like two
102
and Gibbs and Jonnu thrown into the deal. Like, come on.
I mean it's the 102. It's the 102. It's the 107 again. Like the 107 is a hot asset, and it's gonna be like if I have to make the pick. I'll be very happy. But here's the thing too: Jonnu Smith is fighting for the, I mean, unless he's literally basically the top 3 tight end, he's not touching. I got like, I mean, okay, well, I have Hawk coming off a disappointing year, but I have Travis Kelce, and then I have like Hunter Henry's my tight end 3. Like I just don't even need a Jonnu on that team, unless I'm trying to chuck him away.
Free in the deal.
He's not free. He's not free at all.
Okay, look at it. The 102 is worth, let's call it 2 random firsts, right? The 107 is basically worth 1 random first. So you're getting Gibbs for exactly 3 mid/random firsts. You just get a free Jonnu. What's the tight end premium?
It's only 0.5, but it's like I don't need a tight end. I don't even need really I can just draft a running back at 2 that I probably feel great about. Like I already have a bunch of good running backs too. I have like a couple future firsts next year I can work around with. I don't.
You're the guy that values the stud. That you forget all these like multiple pieces, assets. Like just give me the stud. I'm stunned you didn't.
But look, it's here. This is where I get cautious. Is am I really giving up the 102 and 7 for what is the Dynasty RB1 right now? I mean, sure, obviously, I think he's going to continue to be a top Dynasty running back, but I mean, there's a lot of ways that can go wrong when you're just giving up, like 2 just premium, assets. I mean, basically, you just for 1 pick earlier, the 101, obviously, we know it's Genty versus 102's not. That guy just got Caleb and, kind of a first. Obviously, that's a different league, all that stuff, but I just didn't like it. Like, it just wasn't gonna be a deal I was gonna do. Now I countered back with more my way of how I'd want to go about it. And I noticed he had he had 4 quarterbacks, and it's a 4-point passing touchdown league.
Yeah.
And the thing is Jonnu's nice if I'm getting him for free. I didn't feel like I was getting them for free at all in that last deal.
Oh, I do.
Maybe if it was like
Dude, like,
the
I mean,
112 or something.
if you're stuck making the picks, I feel like you could regret not taking that trade because, like, if you take like Omari and Hampton at 102, I mean, you're praying that he's like 60 to 70% of what Gibbs is giving you.
But I could get another running back very good at 107, or I can just trade up to get like one or two spots and get another running back that is, again, I think it's like maybe potentially as good as Hampton, kind of thing like that, and I just rock two of them. And just one of them, I mean, those guys aren't. If those guys do anything the rookie season, they could be hanging around close to Gibbs' value with the prospect profiles they have. I'm just like not too worried about it, you know.
But we don't even know if they're good. I mean, I've heard some people skeptical of Amari and Hampton. Like, you know, he doesn't really like catch passes. He's not elusive. I mean, I'm not saying he couldn't be a great running back or he's not a great prospect or whatever, but like there are definitely like some holes or flaws to his game potential, at least from what I understand.
Sure, yeah, I remember like listening to Gibbs too. I mean, there was certainly some holes and flaws in his. Like, you know, we're always gonna have some flaws with the prospects. Yeah, right. I think the point is like I'd rather just like two really good running backs than the most valuable one.
I think this is where the disconnect is for you. I think you'd rather have the stud receiver than the stud running back. I think you get nervous investing in the stud running back.
It is because it goes wrong quickly.
If you replace Gibbs with Malik Neighbors, you're probably smash accepting
exactly.
that, right?
Oh, 100%. That's a good way to put it because
that's the disconnect.
Exactly, and it is. It's because one injury changes their entire dynasty or one down season. You know, we were taking Najee Harris in the first round of dynasty startups, you know, after that rookie year, just stuff like that, right? And, you know, it happens with receivers too, but, you know, I'm willing to bet receivers are, you know, a lot more consistent sticking around, and you just have like a way bigger window to sell with receivers through injury and stuff like that. We're running. I mean, even look at Breece Hall. Breece Hall didn't have a bad year. Like he had like what you call a mid-year. It just sucks, and like, you know, he's tumbling from the.
Yeah.
And now he's just like going from the mid to late second to the, you know, early fourth, mid fourth. Like it's just people are just like, yeah, he's 23 years old. He sucks, you know. He's washed, like.
Yeah, I mean, Breece is kind of. I mean, I hate to call him a cautionary tale, like he's some like dead ass. I mean, still worth like a first plus. So like, I mean, you want to be like true dramatic about it.
Yeah.
I think of like Miles Sanders, like because like I took over that orphan team in Grease Bowl where like I was missing my first year last year because the guy like traded for Miles Sanders like right before his value tanked. You know, traded a first for him. So I definitely get it. You know, one interesting thing, though, one kind of dilemma I'm faced with. I mean, I do agree with you. I'd rather put it into a receiver than running back. But a dilemma that I'm kind of faced with is in our Blood, Sweat, and Beers league. Like one owner owns like all the stud receivers. He's got Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Nico Collins. Like, so it's like, you know, and you're not going to get any of those receivers off him. He's just like holding them unless like you offer him, you know, half your team and your firstborn child, basically. So that's not an option for me. So like, you know, if I want to take down Goliath, like the only way to do it is like load up at running back. So I currently have Bijan, Breece, you know, Josh Jacobs, got David Montgomery as my running back 4, even got some like decent depth beyond that. And I'm hoping to get the 101 in that league. I recently did a trade up for the 102. I had the 107. I gave the 107 and a late projected 26 first to get the 102. So now I'm within striking distance. So I'm hoping I can add, you know, not too much and move up to the 101. I mean, not that I even need another running back, but you know, I'm trying to go toe to toe with the juggernaut in my league. So yeah. How would you handle something like that? I mean, obviously, like you're in the league too. I mean, what's your strategy?
Yeah, you gotta go to the Puka and the London owner.
That's what I got. Yeah, it's you. Yeah,
it's obviously
I can't get a stud receiver from anybody. So like, but what's a guy to do?
And you just trade away Ladd. So like the number, you know. Obviously,
I traded Ladd. I up tiered to Bijan. So
you have limited receivers, but it's fine. You just got to embrace the veteran receivers. Just get guys that are difference makers that are older.
Well, I mean, I sort of have a combo because I have young guys like Marv and Xavier Worthy. You know, even some other guys like Jalen McMillan.
And then you have Godwin to complement them and stuff like that. So
Godwin and Debo. You know, I get the stacks because I got Baker and Daniel. So
I mean. You've done what you could, like, you know, the best team doesn't win. That's
Right,
just not.
exactly.
This is
So,
how
yeah,
it is.
I think that's the thing is like
I
I got to
wouldn't-
remember that like my team doesn't need to be as good in order to beat it, you know. But
like
of course, like the competitive part of me like wants to like have the best roster. So.
yeah, that was how I was playing last year. Is I'm trying to make the best rosters. And hey, man, I made some really good rosters.
Yeah.
The issue is one of your guys gets a concussion in week 16. Too bad. It's over.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
Hurts or whatever.
yeah, you run into 2 finals. I ran into 3 40-point players on our team. It was like Burrow and Higgins and like McBride, and I forget who one of the other ones that was in there. Because there's some crossover between both. Nothing you can do there. Whether your team's better or not, doesn't matter. So, actually, I had a guy start Olamide Zacchaeus for like 17 points or something like that against me in one of those. It's just a good reminder of like, don't even stress whatever's
exactly.
going on.
What can you do? Yeah, it's just that's fantasy football for
you.
you.
Yeah, like that summed up to how my season ended. But yeah, so here's how I countered though, right? This is where my mind's at on the Gibbs, right? And so I was like thinking, I don't need 4 tight ends, so like I'm gonna give you Kelsey,
right?
You're gonna give me Jonnu, okay? Yeah. Now you're down tiering from Gibbs to Connor, because again, I love Connor, but if I'm gonna take Gibbs over, let me get rid of a running back.
Yeah.
I'll give you the 102. I'm gonna give you a 20. This has got to be my own 2026 first. Okay. And like basically that I snuck Anthony Richardson in here. So basically it's like, okay, I'm gonna give you the 102 and a first still, but now I'm gonna get Gibbs and AR. I'm gonna take a 4th quarterback off him.
I think if it was a 6-point passing touchdown league, you could kind of get away with just sneaking an AR. But like, if the other manager's smart, which it sounds like he probably is, like you're not just gonna sneak him in there. So I think that's kind of where the decline happened.
Yeah, I mean he had Fields too, and 2 other quarterbacks that are better than both guys. So, I mean, I was just thinking, it's kind of just one of those scenarios where I'm just gonna see, does he want him? If he wants to get off of him, this is probably like one of the only chances he's got, unless he just like takes the best offer. I mean, it is a 4-point, which is extra interesting for AR. But then he gave me a counter. Let's just see what this is at. Yeah, this was like no better. It was basically, again, the 102. This was even worse, actually. It's the 102 and the 107 for Gibbs. Again, I don't even need AR, though I would like to have him and as like kind of throwing in a deal. But I have to then give up my 26 first. And again, I don't want to pay a 26 first for a 3rd quarterback. So regardless if it's a guy I like or not. So I just
also we got Cooper in the chat here saying taking Gibbs and A-Rich side.
Okay, yeah. So we were okay. Wait. What was this here? You're taking Gibbs.
Saying that like you should have accepted that.
No. He's saying.
Oh, on this one.
That I should have like on both that he would prefer.
Gibbs.
Actually, wait, hold on. Yeah, which one are you talking about?
Yeah, let us know, Cooper, which of those counters.
Yeah, because I sent one.
Yeah, and then you got the counter back.
And then I got the counter back, so let us know here.
We'll see what Cooper says there.
Yeah, and that's Hawkeye's. I gotta see if he
replied
back. Potential guest on Sunday. We'll see. So
sure.
let us know. If not, we could try to make something work on a different day or whatever.
Or we could like maybe have a different guest on Sunday and like have Hawkeyes on like the following Sunday or a different day, whatever works best.
Yeah, I'm interested from Hawkeyes or whoever else in there. Like, Dan, you like okay. We'll go back to the first one he sent because I actually think this is a better trade that he sent. This was the first offer I got. Are you taking this in my situation? I have a full lineup filled out. I want to up tier, and basically my, why I'm declining this is like, let me just use the 1, 2, and 1, 7, and actually this is what I was mentioning earlier, Dan, when we were off stream, is like, I'm trying to go get CeeDee Lamb and stuff with these picks. I'm trying to get a receiver.
You know what I'd be interested to know?
I'm not trying to get Gibbs.
If you were a Lions fan instead of a Vikings fan, and you were, watched every single snap of every Lions game, I think you'd have a hard time declining this trade.
Man, I get to see Gibbs though. He tears up the Vikings every time they play him. Trust me. I owned him in his actually in like 2 of my 3 redraft leagues his rookie season. Like I was big on some Gibby and nothing changes. It's just It's a dynasty format. I love how you can just pay peanuts and get similar production on running backs. You know?
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. I'm not saying this is going to happen because I love David Montgomery as well. He's awesome. Very underrated running back, and he's kind of a low-key stud. I mean, he's scoring like double-digit touchdowns every year for the Lions. He catches the ball. Great rusher. But, like, if his role diminishes in any way, just from him, getting older and Gibbs just kind of coming into his own, or if Mountie, keeps suffering injuries, if Gibbs' role grows in this offense, like, he's going to break fantasy. I mean, he's just absurd.
But do you think they'll let him take on that workload?
Yeah, I think they will. Because anytime David Montgomery has gotten hurt, like, they don't use Craig Reynolds anymore. Sion Vaki didn't, basically like sniff the, any rushing attempts or anything. Now, who knows? Maybe, they did spend a 4th round pick on Vaki. So I don't know. Maybe he takes over for Montgomery eventually. Maybe they work him in a little more in year 2, at least when there's an injury. But like Gibbs is the dude. He's the workhorse when anytime Montgomery's injured. So like, I mean, that's the ultimate upside in fantasy. Like if Montgomery's injured, Gibbs is breaking fantasy.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, I completely agree. I mean, basically it's just prejudice. He's a running back. Yeah,
I get it. But also just to put in perspective, I've been making a lot of deals in that King of the Hill league we mentioned a little bit ago. Yeah. And man, like, do I love my team right now? Because I got Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts on the same team. I don't know how I pulled that off. Thank you to Joey. We made some deals and I was able to make it happen. But in any case, when Randy was working on that 4-way trade that he sent out, he had asked me before he sent it. He's like, basically like, what are the untouchables on your team? Like, well, he said, like, what are you willing to give away? What are you willing to move? And I said, anything but Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, anything else is negotiable. But, like, I'm not moving those guys.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, if I own Gibbs, too, I mean, probably not moving him unless, there's a really good down-tier player to go to.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not
gonna think of his name, tune in.
Yeah, don't say another word. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, thinking the same thing.
Yeah. So, keep an eye on the channel. But, before we kind of like end the stream here, let's get your opinion here because Andrew and I haven't really talked too much about any strategy in this league. I'll show you what we're working with. It's the exact same format as the break room. All right.
Yeah, Andrew is at RB Squishy on Sleeper. Just for our viewers out there that might be in some of these leagues with us.
Yeah, so this is our team here. Basically, on the bench, notable players. We have Sharp to back up K9. Hey, we got Whittington, Wandale, and Joe. Just some. It's nothing special.
You got Joe on the bench. I mean, that's a good sign.
Yeah, well, he's actually.
Or are you just kind of hiding him for now? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's just sitting out there for now, but he's a starter. This is a 2 PPR tight end. So like we have the tight end room on lock.
Oh yeah, you got Hawkinson, Ingram, Kraft, and then Njoku. That's crazy.
Can basically start them all 4. We have Kamara. I mean, technically, we actually have all these guys, everyone but Benson for the handcuffs here because we have Sharp and Baylor for now. And then Hurts and Purdy. And actually, we lucked into Mac Jones there, and we have Tanner McKee. So we got the handcuffs. Nice. Anyways, basically the whole weakness is like, Smitty, Evans, and question marks at receiver. Beyond, they're not that important. The rest of the positions.
Are you having to like start Tillman week 1 or like who's your wide receiver 3?
As of right now, it would be him.
Okay.
Or basically like Amari Cooper or Wandale kind of thing. So obviously we need to get a receiver, at some point now.
Yeah, I mean Tillman could be great. He's just sort of like kind of a wild card, and then I guess worst case you throw Wandale in there. I mean, the rest of your team's pretty loaded, especially with like the 2 PPR for tight end. So you probably could get away with it, but you could certainly use an upgrade. It wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, like we had this team had dominated as of last season. We became first in the regular season, and then we ended up just getting a hot team, and then we would have won the finals pretty much if Hurts just didn't get concussed, as all my teams. The story is.
Oh yeah, you got a lot of Hurts.
Yeah, exactly. And this is like a 250 buy-in, so like man, that one definitely hurts. From Hurts, unfortunately. But here's where we're looking for picks. 105, 205, and some thirds. You know, any thoughts on a route this team can go here? You know, I'll let you look at the picks again. Basically, we just need a receiver. You know, what's the receiver that we need? It doesn't need to be anyone special,
I mean,
honestly.
you get like Drake London with the 105? Probably not. I don't know. Like,
Probably
could you?
I declined the 102 for London, so probably not.
Yeah.
But here's the thing too. I mean, my initial thoughts is, of course, I'm always trying to trade back on the clock here. 105 C, because we don't need a tight end or something too. There could be a good one there.
Right.
Try moving into a range where we think we can get a receiver we really like. This could be weird too. I mean, honestly, it's feeling like people are really off Tet, and if he's at the 105, I mean,
oh yeah, seem to be a nice value.
Pretty hard to pass up at that point. But we're thinking maybe we just address best players still though with 105 if we can't move back.
Yeah, I mean maybe just kind of go bully tight end and take Tyler Warren, if he's there.
Oh, I know Andrew will want to do that.
Oh yeah. 100%. Oh
yeah. Which I'd consider. I'd certainly consider. It would need to be a good landing spot, though.
Probably, yeah. You probably maybe you're not doing it if he goes to the Colts, right?
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. Like, I guess the Rams is kind of like a top, and Chargers are top spots.
Yeah, those would be nice.
But maybe best player with 105, and then, maybe we can get a veteran receiver or something with the remaining picks and take some darts. But I don't know. Is there anything on this team you think is kind of like a...
What receiver could you get for the package of 105 and 205? Could you get London for that?
I mean, I don't think so. Just because...
Really?
Well, I would decline it if I owned London. So...
Yeah.
I wouldn't really consider it.
What do you think is the best receiver that someone would accept for that pair of picks?
For the 105 and 205...
I mean, who could you get? Ladd. How about Ladd?
No, I could be right. Like Ladd is like 101 price. Like,
oh man.
Yeah, he is. He goes right beside it in startups.
Yeah.
You'd be looking at basically, I think AJ Brown potentially. Then you get into Rice. I'm thinking of our startup ADP.
Yeah, we were just talking about Rice earlier today. So, like, would you send the 105 to Rice, or you'd rather have the 105?
I'd rather just wait to see what's on there, because if I can get like an absolute monster running back or something, like I'll take that.
Let's just mock the first four picks for fun. Let's say it goes Genty, Hampton, Tet McMillan, and the next pick is Henderson. Okay, you're on the clock at the 105. You can take Tyler Warren. You can take Golden. You can take any quarterback.
Yeah. This would be potential trade back or trade for vet territory for me. But Warren, though...
Off in your inbox. It's Rashee Rice for that 105 on the clock straight up. What are you doing? You countering? You accepting? Declining?
I'd let Andrew kind of play into this one. If he liked Rice and, the 105 is the price, this would probably be my Rice share. Yeah. Because we need a receiver. It's kind of just like... we're not going to...
Yeah, so you're saying you're kind of on the fence, but you could be talking to it if your co-manager was into the idea.
Yeah, exactly. I think that would be a reasonable scenario here to get him. And because, we're going to have to get a receiver to pick anyways. So, I mean, I would also probably prefer to see what it is to move back, get a receiver I like. I can see what's on top. But still, of course... Yeah, I consider both. So I think that's kind of the question of this draft. But I thought we did a good team. We did a good job with the team, but we had BTJ, and I was telling you for a video. Yeah, we did turn Ayuk into like Devonta Smith, but man, we could have had. The worst part is like I don't know if I mentioned that when we made the trade, Joshy was like, "Oh man, you fleeced him," because we fleeced them for.
At the time.
Fleeced. We got like 2 free thirds is kind of like what it was. But like Ayuk was over BTJ. Wicks was, I don't know, I guess kind of like 2/3. Whatever. He's like kind of like a late second.
Wicks or you're sending Wicks, right?
We were sending Wicks. And we thought, 2/3 is just fine.
You got Purdy in the deal, right? Or no?
No. That was a different league.
Oh, okay.
But basically, like Ayuk last year was a 4th round startup pick. And Brian Thomas, we literally picked him in the 6th year. So like we got 2 bump ups in rounds for starting ADP, and my logic too when we were accepting it is like, hey man, we this might not we want to keep BTJ, like he really wanted to draft him too, and I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
We might want to keep it, but hey, we got the stack, and we're getting a receiver that's more valuable and a veteran, like we know he's good. What are the odds? He's way better than Brandon Ayuk, and I mean,
Yeah.
what could you do?
Highly likely outcome, obviously.
Yeah.
It's funny how like the stack can sometimes lead to you like getting like an awesome player that gains value that you otherwise wouldn't have gotten.
Yeah.
But the reverse is true. It leads you to making a bad trade because you were chasing the stack and like otherwise you wouldn't have made that deal. So
yeah,
it's a double-edged sword. But
it is. Yeah.
I feel like more often it works out. But yeah, this is not one of those occasions.
Here's what I'll say. I think it works out well if it's like cheap assets, but when I think it's dangerous to get, like, you got to be careful when you're going for the stack with really like valuable pieces,
right?
Because I did that technically twice last offseason, both with Ayuk, and I just didn't really care about Ayuk, but like again, I was trading a late first rookie both times to get Ayuk, who top 15 receiver back-to-back years. Hard to question that deal. If I got in that situation again, I'd absolutely do it because, there's zero question marks about the asset I'm getting, unless he tears his ACL and scores 7 points a game.
It was the best case scenario for Brian Thomas. It was the worst case scenario for Brandon Ayuk.
And the other one was Ladd.
The story is, like, if you're not that, goo goo gaga over Brandon Ayuk, like, maybe that's not the stack you need.
Yeah, I mean, sure, the stack helped, in the deals, like, but it was just like a no-brainer for value, for getting a surefire difference maker, supposedly.
I mean, that's sort of the danger of trading the rookie picks, is like, yeah, they could be bust, but like they could become this asset that like before it's like worth first, like basically Brian Thomas is right now. So you got to be careful. I mean, that's like the fear in terms of like like the Amon-Ra St. Brown acquisition trade that I recently made, where like I'm trading like 3 mid to late first for St. Brown. Like it could blow up in my face, or it could I could have fleeced the guy because like all the guys he drafts are just like terrible. So it's a risky trade when you're moving first in the current rookie class, especially.
Yeah, of course. When you get to do it 1-for-1, like it could feel better, especially if you're just getting the better assets. But once you start to get multiple in there, that's kind of like what this whole 102-107 thing with Gibbs is. Like, one of those running backs could just be a top. I mean, probably not likely that they hit top 5 running back in Dynasty nearly immediately in the rookie season, without probably just getting bad terrible variants. Like it's a loaded room other than even if you remove Genty. And so I can have 2 of them. I have 2 guys I can start, and I have 2 chances that they become more valuable than Gibbs within their career at some point, whatever, at some time. So I mean, normally I don't really think like that. It's just the running back position I'm extra careful about. Like, can you imagine if both of those guys, like, basically compare it to this Ayuk one? Not to say it's going to happen, but can you just imagine, you get lucky, it's the same thing. Gibbs goes down, injury. Won't say what injury, but you know what I'm alluding into. Not to jinx it, but
we don't need any bad juju.
Exactly, not gonna win.
Get that out of there.
And just imagine that, the same situation as Ayuk, and all of a sudden, you get the RB2 or 4 or 5 in the class or whatever it is. That we'll keep it at running backs for this, and both of them surpass Gibbs in value because they're both great players, and they're both young. They're both great prospects, and they're both in good landing spots while you're drafting them there. And I'm throwing up thinking, oh my god, like I could have just absolutely just tossed away, like, it seemed like a good trade at the time, but man, like I could have had 2 locked and loaded running backs. Like, I know that's still, it's just giving the scenario of this like whole Ayuk thing, which when I was thinking of, I'm getting the surefire vet, there's no way I can lose this. Like, I'm hoping these guys are as good. I'm hoping these picks are as good as Gibbs. But things change, of course. And rookies are getting better every year, it seems like. They're making more of an impact every year.
Yeah. What if this was like a loaded receiver class and you got to, you can trade those 2 picks for Neighbors.
Yeah.
You can still have that same fear that, like, oh man, like those are gonna be like 2 awesome receiver prospects. Like it might turn into like 2 Neighbors. Like, I mean, do you having that same fear in that situation, that scenario?
Well, if we think back to, I mean, I know Neighbors came out of last class, but technically, let's just pretend Neighbors was receiver 1, and the 102 then is like Marv, whatever. Like, let's just pretend it's still Marv I'm going to take there. Then I can
Or let's
have
say like
Marv
that.
and
Let's
BTJ.
say you could have taken like um Marv and like Odunze or something like
Yeah.
that. Like, are
Okay.
you like, and someone's offering you like Justin Jefferson?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Or call
Um.
it CeeDee Lamb. Call it CeeDee Lamb because, okay,
Yeah.
you're a Vikings fan. I don't want it to be like bias. And CeeDee Lamb's coming off that like insane season. So what are you taking? Are you taking Lamb, or are
Yeah.
you trading like 2 early to mid first where you can potentially get like Marv
Well.
and Odunze?
Well, that's the tricky part because I did those trades, not for Lamb, but for the other receivers, Chase and Jefferson last year,
Okay.
and I mean, I definitely didn't get 1-for-1 the 102, but because people knew it was going to be Marv or Caleb, I didn't have to add that much on. Like,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
Right.
Uh,
Because people knew what a loaded wide receiver class it was.
yeah, so it was just there was so much. So it's tough in there, but let's just like think of because it was a loaded wide receiver class. Like, this is a loaded running back class. Let's think to last year, and let's just call it picks 7. Whatever. Yeah, picks. Let's call it picks 7 or 8. Well, we'll call it 8 for this reason. Lower 8 and 11. Okay. Well, 8 and 11, you could get maybe Rome there, or you get Brian Thomas, often going there in that range. In fact, BTJ a lot of times is going 9 or later. But for the sake of the drill, let's just say, Rome or BTJ. Of course, BTJ is better now.
Yeah.
And then, you get your pick again. Let's say in one scenario you get BTJ and you get Worthy, and the other one you get Rome and you get Lad or whatever, just to even it out. So it's like, hey, both those scenarios, like, as long as you didn't draft, whatever, like, I guess Worthy and Rome. You're happy with 3 of like the 4 scenarios there, because as long as you get one of BTJ or Lad in there, like you're happy with the deal. I guess is like kind of
Yeah.
you know
But of course, I mean, last year might be more the exception than the rule.
exactly. But that's why it's like later picks, just to kind of exemplify it. We're talking about the 102 and 107 here, so it's just. Yep, be careful with those rookie picks. That's all. I love trading them for veterans, but
I'll admit, I mean, like trading like what were the picks that I sent for St. Brown? It was like what, 107? I can't remember now, but
6,
okay, 6,
8,
and
12.
12. Okay, yeah. I mean, that was a scary deal to do. I did it because I needed to consolidate.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if I didn't find some trades where I consolidate, I'm having to like cut players from my roster that I'd rather not cut.
Yeah.
There's not a ton of roster space in Grease Bowl, so that's kind of what motivated me. I mean, plus, of course, like St. Brown's a stud. It's not even having anything to do with like being a Lions fan or anything, but like it was a scary trade to hit accept on, just because you think like, oh man, like what could those rookie picks be?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when the class is very important, right? So like, if you're looking at in this class, I mean, you're basically going to be forced. A quarterback's going to be probably the best player available with 1 or 2 of those picks, maybe even all 3 of them.
Which really doesn't appeal to me that much. Like the tight end premium in that league's only 0.5, so I can't get like that excited about the 112. In a lower tight end premium. So I mean, I don't regret it, but it was a scary trade to make.
Yeah, it's scary because if you just pick one guy, I mean, like, just one guy has to push. They doesn't need to pass on him. Right? He just needs to get close, and then all of a sudden you got 2 free other picks, kind of so it is scary. I actually think oftentimes like those deals end up losing, but the thing is, just because they lose doesn't mean they're a bad deal for Amon-Ra. Think of like the Jefferson deal, like whatever I sent away, it's probably is absolutely more valuable now.
Mm-hmm.
But I got Jefferson, so I'm pretty happy. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have to worry about all the.
Allowed you to like compete right away. I mean, I guess like BTJ was like good early, but like that's not always going to happen. So I don't know. It's a tricky thing.
Yeah. You just if you get basically the Jefferson, the player like that. I mean, you Gibbs too, of course. Like, you compete right away. You feel like you have a surefire asset. Where like the rookies, of course, there's question marks and stuff like that, but that one I gave away Puka, my first Addison for Cook and JJ. So like I only gave away one first in that deal though. That was like the really appealing part is I didn't have to dive in and start firing away 3 firsts and then throw an Addison and then get Cook and JJ back kind of thing.
It did end up being what, the 105 because you had really awful luck.
It would end up being the 106 because I had the most points. Exactly, but honestly, even with that doesn't even matter to me. Like basically, I think I made the deal like, whatever, like just a better deal for you, but like for me, I'm just as happy. I got my guy. Yeah. We can keep rocking and rolling with JJ. A player like that. So, I mean, something to consider with these up tiers. I think it was a good conversation.
I mean, that's why I'm more the guy that's inclined to down tier. You're more of the up tier and get the stud guy. So I'm kind of in a unique position this offseason where I've acquired all these picks and assets, and now I'm able to kind of throw them around a little bit, tier up, have some fun, get my studs. But like at the same time, it does make me a little uncomfortable because it's like man, like I could see myself like losing this deal. But
you're gonna lose a lot.
You have,
That's the best part. Like so.
Okay,
you're gonna lose so many of those deals up tiering, but that's what I was doing last year. But because you lose, just because you lose them doesn't mean you actually lose them.
Right. Because at that point, like,
such a good player.
You're probably building like a goated roster that's gonna contend for the championship and hopefully win it. So like, it's like that's the fun of it is like you're able to lose some deals because like you have so much value on your team, so many picks, so many players that are valuable. Like it doesn't even matter.
Well, that's the big thing is. I mean, I do like tearing up, but this thing, I don't tear up the players like that when I can't. Blood, sweat, and beers, I can't go, even if it was an option, I can't go and tear up to those players because I just don't have enough assets to do it. But all these teams where I was getting up tiering with Chase and Jefferson and players like that, well, guess what? I had the assets because I did the strategy of the productive struggle. So that my productive struggle teams, I'm loving the tear ups because I got picks and everything to throw around for days. But my teams I didn't do the productive struggle on, I'm down tiering, if anything. So it always just depends on the team.
For sure.
So
there's a time and place for everything. So, you got to know when to up tier and when to down tier. And, you don't want to rush that rebuild process. So, you got to use some good judgment there.
Yeah, exactly. That's the worst thing you do is literally probably the worst thing actually in all of Dynasty is rush a rebuild. That doesn't mean...
Hopefully I didn't do that in Grease Bowl. Because
no.
that would be the counter argument. So you don't think I have?
No, but although you I guess you only have the 101 left, right? So So I guess kind of in your position, my ideal way would have been hang around the a pick or two. Obviously, you couldn't foresee like the Amon-Ra thing happening. But try to hang on to a pick or two and then kind of just rush and doll them, bring him back, or whatever you can do with it.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't if I'm willing to move off of Genty, I mean, I could rush and doll the 101 and see what I could turn that into. So I guess I'm open to it, but like, man, I mean, Genty would be nice in the starting line next to Bucky, and I mean, St. Brown and Ladd, and I mean, I'd have a pretty nice starting lineup. Yeah. I mean, the bench isn't like the most amazing thing in the world, but I have some upside pieces on it, and I still have a number of seconds and other picks. So like, I think it'll come together, but like. Yeah, I don't know. Like, hopefully I didn't rush the rebuild. I hope I wasn't guilty of that.
No, I think you'll be fine. But I guess that's one thing to mention, too, and this is what I've tried to do on a lot of my teams last year that were that productive struggle. Like, I had other people's first, and, some of them in season I might have traded them away, for whatever reason. But some of them, too, like, I got the 102 from a guy, and then 105 and 104, whatever. Like a lot of my teams, whether they were whether they were like a productive struggle start or just like a not, all those teams when I have multiple firsts at any point, like so this is really important in the Gibbs example, is even if it was neighbors, like I'm very skeptical still sending 2 and 7 back without like figuring out a deal where I get like some kind of first in that deal, whether I'm sending players and the reason why is like give me your 20. I'm going to find a way to get his 26 first or a 112 or something like that. Because when you lose a first, like, the first is like, if it just has a 1 on it, it doesn't matter what it says. If it has a 1 on it, you can, as long as the league is active at all, that pick can be turned into as many assets as you want. Like, seriously, over time, you could just hang on to one first that you got in a deal from down tiering from player A to player B, and you could, like, just reap the assets, again, from the Russian doll thing, of that player forever and ever and ever. And if you do it right, like, you're going to eventually turn that late first into, like, these multiple early firsts and this and that. And it's kind of just like the Stafford trade in real life, you know? You pick, let's pretend Stafford was a first round 101 pick or whatever pick. And they turn it into Gibbs and Laporta and blah, blah, blah. And it just keeps on going. So when I have all those firsts, I don't try to send them all away and milk them all away, unless maybe it's just like the perfect scenario, kind of like in Grease Bowl, where, man, like, that team is just crazy.
Yeah.
And I honestly kind of regret doing that, because I'd rather have, like, a worse starting lineup and just keep getting first and just keep going, because that's what I've done with all my other rosters, and they still have 6 starting lineups. They don't look as good on paper just because it doesn't have, like, 4 top guys and, you know, this and that.
Okay, but explain that, though. So, okay, you have a first. I mean, you can call it whatever specific first you want, you know, for your example. But, like, what are you doing with that first? Like, what are you sending that for? And explain what you mean exactly.
Okay, let's pull up this little roster, for example. So, for Grease Bowl, like, there's nothing I can do. You know, there's things of course, there's always something you can do. But, like, what am I going to do? Am I just going to trade away Jefferson for fun or Chase for fun? I can down tier. But also, why would I not just go in the season and just, you know, it's rare you ever get, like, you know, this many players and stars and stuff like that, right? And I don't have a first this year, but I have mine, you know, next year. So kind of my point is, look at, you know, this league. I was talking about the Gibbs trade. You know, I don't know if my lineup's fully set, but basically I have a lot of depth. And then I have, like, you know, the Christian Kirks of the world, Kelsey's, Hunter Henry's, Cokers of the world, all that stuff, you know. And this is more what I kind of wish my Grease Bowl lineup was set, where, like, you know, I don't have to worry about getting, you know, some guy with a lot of dynasty value. Instead, I just have Calvin Ridley in there in my flex, and I keep rotating them with Kelsey and all those other, you know, scrubs, and get good production. And same thing, like Kamara and Hubbard, happy with them, blah blah blah. Where now I have, you know, a projected early first next year, literally could be the 101, my own first, the 102 this year, which I did the same thing, getting it from this guy, like, you know, I traded the 201 for this, and that's kind of the point, is, like, let's pretend that 201 was just the 112, it's just a first. I turned that into the 102 and Hunter Henry, and now I already did it again, like, you know, I traded a player, I guess, in this scenario for a literally guaranteed early first next year, and I'm just going to keep trying to do that.
So basically, you bet against a manager, you acquire their first in the following year's draft. Let's say it works and their team is really bad. It turns into, like, the 102 in the next year's draft. And then what are you doing with the 102? Like, you're trading it for, like, the 109 plus, like, their 27 first, and then hoping to just keep, turning, like, one asset into two, and, you know, just keep multiplying it.
I could take it as far as I wanted. I could just keep going from I could turn this 102 into, like, you know, I know, you probably got to get 2, but, like, you know, there's a way you could finagle it when you're adding players in. I could turn it into 3 first, you know, and then I could bet against, like, I did bet against this manager again, but, like, I could find another manager I want to bet against, and I can get his first, you know, and I just, like, you can just, like, keep letting people tank for you, and just, like, and just keep competing, and you're just, like, not losing anything, because you're just losing picks temporarily.
At some point, are you then tearing up to the Jeffersons and Chases of the world, to, you know, just because you have, like, this third amount of assets?
Well, you can do whatever you want, is kind of the thing. There's no real answer, but this is, like, not even talked enough about, is, like, this is, like, passive income, you know?
Yeah.
I put off my 102, like, I could put it off this year, and then I could just turn it into a late first. And then I can also get a future first. Yeah, again, I'm always betting on managers I don't want. They're doing the tanking for me, hopefully.
Yeah.
I keep just rolling, and I still get my players this year. I know people do it. I know people know about it. But like, in a couple of my leagues, I'm really like reaping the rewards of it,
Yeah.
and it's awesome. So like,
So, like,
I can't do
but
that in Grease Bowl. It's the
how
issue.
high of a first do you need though? Like I have the well, I guess I do have the 102 now. But let's say I didn't make that trade for the 102 in both Sweat and Beers.
Yeah.
Let's say I still have the 107. Like, could I do this Russian doll theory with the 107? Like,
I did it with a 201 last year, and that turned into 1-2. So you do with anything. You do as long as you can get a future first.
I'm sorry, you mean the 112 you did it with?
No, it was the 201 is what it actually was.
Oh, 201.
Yeah.
Oh, you throw the 201 into a future first.
Into the 102.
Right. Yeah. Which
Yeah,
ended,
yeah. But I obviously when I was looking, I was like, this is going to be early first. No,
if you had the 107 in a league, what are you looking to get for that? Future first and what?
Well, I think here's the best example of what you get, and obviously you want to see what players in the clock, but unless there's like something just again like let's just pretend it doesn't matter what's on the clock, whether you like it or not. That's just if it's a really good thing, you're just getting more for it,
Sure. Right.
And in this case, you're getting a manager again. A lot of guys that think trade their first away, they think they're going to compete. They think they have a team that's better than they are. You're just looking for people with no depth, as we mentioned earlier. Right?
Yeah.
You find that manager that wants that pick with no depth or little depth.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, my ideal thing, if I could put it in picks, is let them give me like an early to mid second, maybe like let's just call it mid second to be easier. Okay. And I'm gonna take their early first, or sorry, their first next year.
Yeah, your first next year that you're hoping ends up being early.
And I'm always gonna adjust the price of what I'm gonna do based off their team and what I can see. Yeah. But basically, my goal is always to get it like it's a late first. Like, I always pay the price as if it's a late first, unless it's literally a guaranteed. So, like, for example, this one, I gave away my depth of, like, Worthy and Jalen McMillan prior to the Godwin re-signing, too, so it was a little more risky. And I know there's literally nothing this guy can do to make it a early first. There's literally nothing. Like, I'll show you his team, yeah? It's, he has Mahomes and he has Herbert in a 4-point passing touchdown league. And he's got Wicks, Spears, McMillan, JT Sanders in his starting lineup.
Jeez.
And then there's nothing. There's nothing on his bench. He has no picks. He has a second and a couple thirds.
Yeah, I can see why you'd bet against this manager.
And he just gave me the 102 last year. So,
wow. He's fallen for the banana in the tailpipe again, huh?
Well, the thing is, like, I way overpaid for his first technically because I gave him Worthy. Call it mid to late first, and I gave McMillan, who was like kind of like an early second at the time, but I wasn't going to get that from him. I could see the market wasn't going to give me anything in this league.
You gave the pair of receivers, and you got his future first. Did you get anything else?
Yeah, I got like I don't know if I can find the deal. I got like a third, and maybe like a fourth or something like that. Just like
but I mean, you wouldn't have paid that if you didn't have a good chance of being an early first.
No, that's the key is, like, you got to adjust to what manager is, and you see, so, like, he doesn't even have a good starting lineup, and he has no depth. That's literally, what is that, worst case, that's the 103. And I'm looking, I know the league, of course, so.
Yeah. By the way, we got 5 people watching right now. Thanks to everyone tuning in. Like, say hi in the chat if you want. We've already gone, like, way longer than this.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, like, we're just, like, incapable of doing a short stream, so... I mean, if you guys want us to stick around a little longer, like, we might be able to do that, especially if you guys, comment. Like, we'll probably be more inclined to read your comments and stick around. But, I don't know, we'll probably be wrapping up, like, pretty soon. But, like, thank you so much for joining us. Like, definitely subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so that you know when we go live. We're hoping to do it, like, every Wednesday and Sunday. If you guys have any... questions you want to ask in the chat, any questions about your dynasty teams or anything, we could definitely like answer a couple questions before we sign off of here. Joey Bradley is here in the house. He said, "Sup, fellas." Yeah, glad you could join us, Joey. He's been trading like a madman and the Hill League there. So I was telling him, like, he's just like a natural dynasty player. Like he loves to trade. Like, he's got good instincts for it. He's going like pretty much like all in on like the full rebuild at this point.
Yeah.
He's like trading all his running backs. He's getting off the risk of them. He just got like a 309 for Tyler Algier, which I think is great. Like, I mean, that's like a guy that you just kind of assume is like Bijan's handcuff, but like, although like the Falcons could like see a value of like, oh man, like this running back, still available here in like round 4, and we have a late round 2 grade on him, so we're just gonna take him here and have a awesome backup to Bijan. So you just like never know. So Joey's doing a great job there. A lot of fun to trade with. We even made at least one deal today. I'm losing track.
Yeah, that was the Lloyd one, right? So
Lloyd, and I also got Tank Bigsby, and I thought that was good for both sides. So basically, I gave him 2/3. Both projected late because I got a really good roster, and then I get the 2 pair of running backs. But he also kicks me a 4th and 27. So I thought that was a pretty nice price for just kind of a couple dart throws at running back, which I didn't even really need, but it was just kind of fun to take a shot at them. If they gain value, I could always flip them.
Yeah. So here's my question for Joey too, because you said you just traded for the 309 for Algier, or opposite way around.
He got the 309.
Okay. So here's my interesting thing for Joey, because I was saying earlier, productive struggle monster here. I've did my fair share of like tanking and stuff like that. And 0 RBs on the squad. Although the running backs I hang around are the Tyler Algiers, are the Tank Bigsbys, and are the Lloyds, especially just like if I can only get late 3rd for them or something like that. So my question is, I guess I would take picks this year for them, but I wouldn't trade because you said they're late projected 3rds. Even if I don't, which I don't even really believe necessarily, because like Bigsby doesn't catch the ball, Lloyd's a question mark, but they're both like, you just never know. They just need a couple weeks to shoot up in value. Those are the backs I want. So, if I'm only getting projected late 3rds, like I'm making you pay them the prices for like this year. Does that make sense? Like, I'm making you pay the 3rd this year.
No one else was offering Joey anything. It sounds like. So I mean, are you holding them and like having them score points and hurting your bid for the 101?
Well, that's the good part. If they're scoring points, you're able to flip them. But that's the catch. So if you for a couple weeks, hit your max points forward, they're not gonna. What are they gonna do? Score 40 points? They're not gonna do that. When they did that, it was a chain I hit on in Grease Bowl out of my productive struggle. So you just got a good case in your hand. If you keep these kind of big time question mark running backs, now of course, like, do I think those guys specifically are guys that I'm dying to get? Absolutely not. But it's something to, I don't know. That's I like keeping backs around like that.
What if the Jags draft, like, not even Ashton Genty, but like they take Judkins in round 2 or Henderson or pretty good running back on day 2 of the draft, and then all of a sudden, like, you're hoping Bigsby is the RB2 on the Jags. He might be the RB3 if he's behind ETN. I mean, he's worth nothing at that point. I mean, you could hope for at that point you might need 2 injuries for Bigsby to be relevant. So like, like the sure thing, just give me the 309. I can probably do a good bit with that on the clock. Rookie fever is going to be in full force. I think that's the safe bet there, because like you risk Bigsby's value going to nothing. Depending on what happens in this class. If it wasn't so loaded at running back, maybe I wouldn't be so paranoid.
Well, you're only getting like a late 3rd next year for both, and then even kick back a 4th. So for those backs, like, what do you lose? You're really losing nothing, because they're an injury away though from like Bigsby, popping back up just a game or two, and all of a sudden you're getting a 2nd for him. That's a big.
Here's the hidden value though. There are some decent players on waivers in King of the Hill. That clears a roster spot for Joey. He can now add, Kenny McIntosh or Amari DeMercado, and it could also just be like an RB3 on a team. Then he can wait for Connor and Benson to get hurt, and then sell DeMercado for future 3rd, and just keep churning and burning his roster. So like, I think there are more angles to this than you're you're kind of simplifying it a little bit. But
I think the importance is if you're going to do those trades, make sure you get picks this year, and because what you can do is
he got the 309 for Algier.
The 309 is good. Yes,
for our deal, I only had to give a pick in 26 and 27. So I guess you could kind of argue that either way. I do think he gave me a slight discount, but the thing is, like, it didn't make sense for me to pay any more than that.
No, exactly.
And, like, no one else was offering him anything. So I guess your advice would be like you would just hold in that scenario.
Just because there's nothing to lose. Like, what are you gonna lose? A couple late thirds, projected late 3rds. But here's the thing too, though, right? Is like even like is there, if we're looking at actual Jags, like they're not going to draft a running back early to like take it over. Like they just have so many holes to fill on their. They have so many holes on their offense to fill. They might take someone.
What if Owen wants to find
three.
his next Bucky?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. It's possible. I'm just saying. I think it's unlikely that they.
Here's the thing,
invest highly.
All these good running backs, like each one of them has to land somewhere. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
so
that's true.
The disruption is just inevitable.
But you know, it's like we're talking day 3 is all for these backs.
We don't know that though. We don't know that. I mean, like you got mock drafts having the Jets take in Ashton Genty, so I mean, like no one's safe at this point.
Well, sure, but then a back's getting traded, and then maybe Bigsby's getting traded. Right? Maybe Bigsby's going to the Raiders. I don't know. Whatever. Like, I'm just saying that, yeah, I see in Joey's comments says he's willing to hold them, but he doesn't like them as much, and picks are going to continue to gain value in about 30 days. So, yeah, I completely, agree with that. That's what I'm saying. Get picks for this class preferably. Of course, I'm sure you try to trade with other people. But here's why, though. Here's the sneaky thing about instead of taking, take the 3-10 for Bigsby, even though he's worth more than that in the market, instead of a late third next year. And the reason why is pretty obvious that, you can trade the 3-10 this year into a third next year and, a fourth next year. Yeah, so, if you're going to do that...
All thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. And because it's a late third... Or, sorry, because it's, that would be a late third. Yeah, you'll probably only get, a third next year and a fourth. But, I don't know. I prefer doing that. That's even if I don't believe in them, I'll probably still hold on to them, kind of thing. I don't know.
It sounds like I was the only manager that was really interested in getting Lloyd and Bigsby, even though I didn't really need them. But the only picks I had left in this draft, trying to take your advice here, or Joey, I just had the 404, 407, and 408. So what if I had thrown all three of those fourths there for the pair of Bigsby and Lloyd? Are you taking that?
Well, no. I mean, he's got to be able to get something better from another manager. He's got to go to Randy. Randy will give him. I
don't know. Randy, Randy could be a little stingy. He doesn't like to just throw those picks around willy nilly. So it sounds like you would just advise Joey just hold next time. But I don't think I do think opinions differ. I think it was fine the trade Joey made, but you could argue it either way.
I would send maybe the back I didn't like more for those 3 fourths or something like that, or 2 of them. Because I agree. I see Joey wants to... Yeah, I agree. I want as many dart throws at these backs, too.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I mean, look, I might not like those guys or something, or you might not like them. They could fall into an injury, and again, it just takes 1 week. They don't even actually need to be a good fantasy back. And then they shoot up into a second-round pick, kind of like Bigsby just did last year, obviously. So
the other thing you have to consider, though, is roster space. You only have so much of it. I mean, let me see how many picks. I'm looking at it right now. How many 25 picks Joey has? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He has 9 picks in 25. Now, yeah, I guess he could probably find close to 9 cuttable players, but I mean, he could probably pull it off. But at the same time, he's probably trying to avoid having to cut Will Shipley from his roster, or having to cut maybe Chris Rodriguez or Taj Washington. I mean, yeah, you could cut those guys, Jalen Naylor, but Jared Wiley.
They're all cuttable, except for the first guy you named. Look, here's the thing. I know you like your McIntoshes, and I'll roster him if I can. No, I'm not making a trade because I want to roster Kenny McIntosh. We're losing the plot if we're making the trades to put Amari Demercado on our team. You know what I mean? We're losing the plot.
I love my deep sleepers. I mean, that's my weakness.
Here's the thing: you'll always be rotating through those bench, and there's always bench spots available. If why am I making a trade to open up? Why am I trading something notable?
Because Chris Rodriguez is gonna have that year 3 breakout for the Commanders, be their RB1. Yeah. Come on, man.
See, because here's the thing: they'll be cut in 2 weeks, anyways. In the season, and then you'll just have the next guy. It's
right, because the Commanders will draft a running back, and then Chris Rodriguez will be cut, and then he'll be on a practice squad on the Raiders.
And then the running back you fill him in with, you cut him by week 2 because he's done nothing, and then you get the next guy, and then it's an endless cycle. So
oh man, all of a sudden we got a ton of comments here.
Okay, we gotta go to Hawkeyes here. So he said, what do we need to add to Bryce Young for J.J. McCarthy? Currently trying to make this trade up. Oh, okay, Dan, you probably have the better advice for like,
Yeah.
because I'm willing to pay a good bit, not because I'm a Vikings fan. I'm still, I actually don't think I have any bias against McCarthy because we haven't seen him play. But I
Yeah.
am like anti Bryce Young. Like at this point,
Yeah,
it's
I mean, I like Bryce Young. I also like JJ McCarthy. Yeah, I mean, I know I'm rocking the Michigan hat, but I don't know if I'm paying much, if anything. Like, I'm happy with Bryce Young.
okay.
Like I'd be thrilled to have either
Yeah,
of those quarterbacks. So I don't need to tear up there. So just rock with Bryce Young. He's gonna be good. I mean, he showed at the end of last year what he's capable of. He's only gonna get better.
yeah. I'd pay. I think the most ideal way you do the tier up is like let's whatever. Maybe it's like you need to throw like a later second in. If you don't like Bryce Young, I'd absolutely do it and just follow your intuition on that one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you have a strong feeling on
Yeah.
that, like, okay, fine, throw a late second, but I'm
Yeah.
not doing much more than that.
Yeah, but if you have players like I like these ones where you have excess players, and
Right.
then if you need to throw in like
De'Ami Brown or
yeah,
Parker
some guys like
Washington.
in here. Well, let's call it even if it's like you got some bunch of tight
Kelsey.
ends and you throw
Yeah.
Kelsey in, and
Yeah.
I'd be willing to do that if that
Maybe even
helps.
Christian Kirk, a Hunter
Yeah,
Henry, something like that. Yeah.
as long as they're excess kind of thing.
You don't need, yeah, just toss them in. Yeah, if you can do that instead of a pick, like, oh yeah, no issue with that.
Yeah, and then so let's see here. There's a lot of running backs gonna get tanked. Yeah, and I agree. That is the good thing about like why I like the Algier one. I think it's gonna handcuff, but yeah,
I'm sorry,
no run.
whose comment are you responding to?
Oh, Cooper is saying that a lot of running backs are gonna get tanked this draft, and yeah, it is true. Like that's the point I'll definitely give about getting rid of Lloyd. We actually don't even know if he's like the handcuff, so I'll give you credit on that. Like, if you believe that like Lloyd or Bigsby, like there's definitely a chance that they don't survive the draft, then I think it's fine to deal away. I'm just saying I prefer getting the pick this year or just kind of rolling the die. They're not really worth much to begin with.
Yeah, Joey says it's the strategy of accumulating thirds, adding
Yeah.
as many very athletic rookie running backs as possible, plays odds.
Yeah.
He said, I think there are going to be a lot of day three running backs that are better than a lot of teams' RB2s right now. Yeah, so it sounds like he's just betting on the rookie class of running backs. He said, I watched the combine running backs, and I'm like, they're sick, dude. Haha. I'll take as many as I can get my hands on. So, yeah, I mean, he's got 25 picks, so he's definitely done a good job getting those.
And I agree. You look at our break room startup, like, I basically tried to talk Josh into getting even more darts than this.
Mhm.
And we need running backs. We have CMC's our only notable back. So, like,
Right.
I'm with you on this whole running back and draft thing.
Oh man, Joey already knows me. He says, "Haha, LOL." Dan loves his deep sleepers. I'm impressed he even realizes that yet, because like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't even really made like any like I don't think I've made any waiver transactions in the hill since he joined. So like he just knows that from watching the stream. I don't know.
Man,
Let me know
I
how you
swear-
know that to me, but yeah, you got me down.
Dude, I swear, like, you trade away. I'm just trying to think of like, a good example. Like, you like trade. I don't know, man. I'm not. What am I trying to
Evan
think of?
Tillman.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to think of maybe a guy you like you trade Cedric Tillman for like, a 27 third, even if you love Tillman, because you're like, man, I open up a roster spot. I'm opening up a roster spot. I can get Chris Rodriguez on here now.
Like when you're like me and you have like a baker's dozen like draft picks every class, like you got to do some roster management.
Yeah.
So if I got like 6 shares of Tillman, which I did, if I got I mean actually that's what I did in King of the Hill. I traded Tillman to Randy, and he gave me like 2/3 and some fab. It's okay, fine, have them. You know what I mean? I need the space, so.
Yeah.
I get it though. Like I do like Tillman, but like he's not a sure thing either. So like,
No, he's not.
And I could win that by a mile, or he could turn into the next Nico Collins and Randy wins it by a mile. But
Yeah.
I got the 5 other shares. I'm good either way.
Yeah. I guess if it's like, let's say you own one. I mean, I don't think you're doing
I'm not
that.
gonna trade
I don't think.
Tillman keep Kenny McIntosh. I mean, I'm not completely as insane.
Yeah. I just try to be. I totally understand the roster thing, but
Yeah.
like, if I have to cut, Will Shipley or something, now we're talking. If I gotta cut Jaheim Bell, I'm not sweating,
Oh, well, yeah.
anything or whatever. Or okay, for a guy you like, come on here,
You gotta figure out like
tomorrow,
where's the
cutoff.
cutoff? Like, where's the player where like you're not even
This
thinking
is
about
here's the
cutting them?
cutoff. It's go look at your waiver wire in any league where it's like not like just look at the waiver wire. And if anyone owns or if they're in there on the waiver wire on ones that aren't on your team or like on my team or someone that like also similarly likes them, uh, then you can just drop and pick them up if they're 5% roster, like all those guys.
You're saying like if they're available in a few other leagues, basically.
Yeah, and here's the thing: if you drop in one league, this is what I do.
Yeah.
I don't want to drop a guy in one league, but I'll just go pick him up in the other league where I have room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just kind of transfer my shares if I like a Macintosh.
Yeah, that's a good strategy.
So I don't really worry about what league it's in unless I really need their handcuff or something like that.
But yeah, not everyone's though is like in double digit dynasty leagues like us. I think Joey's in 2 leagues right now.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised if that expanded. It sounds like it seems like he really likes dynasty, so I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, we do got to remember that not everyone plays in so many leagues like we do.
Yeah. I think Hawkeyes. I wonder how many he's in. He's got to be in at least double digits. Come on, let's hear that count.
Yeah, and I love seeing all these comments, by the way. So maybe we can get through these really quick. But let's see, where do we leave off?
Okay, so you want it's okay. Hawkeyes wanted it. You wanted JJ for the stack, and he offered. Okay, there we go. He offered the 212, and he didn't go for it. So I'm assuming you have. What do you have? You have Jefferson. I'm assuming because he wanted the stack.
Oh, I see. Okay, or maybe Anderson or Hawkinson.
I mean, yeah. Personally, I'm giving away the 212 easily to go up. And hey, if he needs something else on top, that's not gonna kill you. I'm doing it. Gonna be honest. Though I would say in most scenarios, if I wasn't so far behind on Bryce Young to compare to ADP, then I'll take the other side in most cases.
Yeah,
it's just specific because it's Bryce Young. If it was Michael Penix, I'll take the 212 and Michael Penix over McCarthy kind of thing.
Yeah. Also, we got we had 9 people watching. All of a sudden, we're down to 7. But in any case, glad to have so many people joining us. Love seeing all the comments. Joey says hit rates move pretty dramatically from the 3rd to the 4th. Got to believe in the player to hold. But then Hawkeye said hit rate for 3rd round running back is same, near identical to 2nd round. Pretty incredible. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not sure.
As far as like dynasty picks, probably is what he's like dynasty rookie drafts.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we're getting confused on whether they're talking NFL draft or like
they're
dynasty.
They're talking about dynasty picks, and that's probably true. Honestly, I was looking back at the past few years, and like.
So what's true?
Like 3rd rounds can be just as good as 2nd rounds in the past few years, and like going back to 2022's rookie draft, and of course this year's, there was more hits in like this year's 3rd round this year basically than there was the second. The 2nd round stunk this past season,
right?
And then in 2022 there was like it was like a 70% hit rate or something like that. Like I think there was like basically 2 or 3 players in like the one our ADP in Blood, Sweat, and Beers or our draft board. There were like 2 or 3 players that like were misses, and the rest at one point were like they were all huge wins. Sam Howells and Alec Pierce's and guys like that, and there's some huge names in there too. Kyron Williams, like third, it was better than the 2nd round by a mile.
Yeah,
so,
I mean it really varies by the draft class.
It does, but it's good to keep that in mind though when you're picking up these picks.
Yeah, and Joey doesn't think that J.J. McCarthy owners are going to be he thinks they're going to be hesitant to move off cheap because of the recent value increase. I assume because, with the Vikings losing Donald and Nick Mullins and Daniel Jones. So, I mean, JJ's the guy at this point. Yeah. It doesn't seem like Aaron Rodgers is going there, although it's the report saying like they haven't ruled it out yet. So
he's like I'm telling you, this whole time don't even listen to any of that. He's always been the quarterback. They're gonna bring in a Joe Flacco or something like that. The one reason I think that I can accept why people think this whole Rodgers thing was really coming by. Well, there was a real report, but there was also multiple counter conflicting.
Okay.
But the Vikings hadn't signed a backup quarterback. That's like the one credit I'll give to like why they might think Rodgers could be available. But it was always Rodgers trying to get his way into the Minnesota. Nothing that the Vikings have done has ever made sense to now let's go get Aaron Rodgers. That's not how they're playing their game. It's nothing that made sense from their GM standpoint. But here's the thing: they didn't have the backup quarterback. They made a mistake last year and they lost out on basically a third round compensatory pick by signing a corner Shaq Griffin before the period where like your signings don't affect it. So this year,
Okay.
I'm gonna assume they're waiting to sign a backup quarterback because who cares for now? You get one after the compensatory period ends, and then now you don't affect your compensatory pick. So that's why they don't have a backup quarterback right now. To explain to anyone that's like wondering.
Also, Joey revealed how he knows how I love my deep sleepers.
Okay.
He said, "I was looking at the transactions and seeing you made so many waiver moves this winter. Haha. Oh man, I feel so exposed right now. I didn't know you could even like look into that. Like, oh my man. Yeah. So I guess I guess there's no hiding my love of the deep sleepers. Yeah, I definitely do love them." And then Joey says, as a Seahawks fan, I'd love to see the Seahawks trade K9 to Carroll and the Raiders, then just draft a sleeper running back and take another nice pick and sign a guard with the extra cap space. Hey, well, if Kenny McIntosh is going to move up the depth chart, I'm all about
Here we
that.
go.
So I'd love that.
Oh yeah.
Also, Joe, if you have any opinion on Kenny McIntosh, that's like one of my favorite guys. I don't know how I'm not rostering him King of the Hill, but might have to put in a waiver claim tonight. So we'll see about that.
Fight over him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Joey right now is probably like, wait a minute, Kenny McIntosh is available? No,
Yeah.
I think I'm probably the only one, but I would be curious what you think about him.
I missed Hawkeyes. He said he only has Young because he took over an orphan. Wouldn't have drafted him unless great value. So that's my man. That's can agree on that one. Dan, you're a little more optimistic. Here's my favorite thing. We gotta write down all our disagreements.
Okay.
We
We got some
for the
bets.
season.
We were supposed to do that last year. We never actually made the bets.
We'll definitely do that this year for a video. It's funny because I actually ended up coming around Ridley and Godwin were like, no way in hell I'm paying like mid-second for those guys. Of course, Godwin was like the biggest miss in history, but like honestly, I don't know. I mean, I guess there was some evidence. I forget even what it was, but there was like some good evidence for Godwin, but basically everything I couldn't figure a good argument for him. Ridley, yeah, he didn't end up being so bad, but I've come around on him for sure. For this season.
Yeah. Let's see. Any other comments here? Hawkeyes is also a Seahawks fan. Interesting. All right, so we got.
It makes sense. Hawkeyes.
Yeah, got a couple of Seahawks fans in the house.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yep.
I think it was Joey. We were reminiscing a little bit about like Sean Alexander. I don't even know. That's probably a little bit before your time, but like fantasy royalty back in the day. Like, yeah, he man, like the stats he put up in games, like you just don't even see anymore. So he was a goat for sure in the fantasy world. Let's see. Joey says Penix owners saw. Wait, who's he talking about here? Penix owners. Saw him on the field, and some may decide for themselves that he didn't look amazing. So I think it's much easier to go get Penix. Just got him for the 110 straight up. Yeah, he got Penix for the 110 and King of the Hill. I thought that was a great value.
Oh my God! Yeah.
And here's the thing. I thought this was genius. Like he didn't even need a QB at the time, but he just took the value, and then he sent away Jordan Love. So then he's back to 2 QBs now, and he had already gotten London from me, so he gets the stack. So I thought that was just like a brilliant move there.
Yeah, I mean that is like if I could get Penix for my 110, I would do that every time.
That's phenomenal deal. I mean, you're basically not even paying much more than like, I mean, if you had taken him like at the 110 last year, that would have been a good pick, even though you didn't even need to take him there. But he's only gone up in value, so like, I mean. That's a great price.
Yeah, 100%.
And you get the stack, so like that's just like great all around.
Hawkeyes is not, which I think you just said that. Oh, he said he's in leagues with me, but he's not in King of the Hill.
Right. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I guess Hawkeyes probably wasn't here, but he was explaining that Joey found us off.
on the stream.
YouTube, and then Dan got him to take over an orphan, and like
Yeah.
basically it would sound like the most dead league he was in, and then Joey came in, and I think another owner, and it's been like
Michelle.
It's been fireworks. It sounds like.
Oh my god, it's been insane. So yeah, like it's so great having them in the league, and yeah, we mentioned in the last stream that like we're planning on starting a listener league. So just kind of like just a league of like our subscribers and the people that watch our live streams. We're gonna get a league of all of us together. So probably gonna be starting that up in the next like month or two. But I'm really excited about that. So Joey definitely has a spot. So anyone else watching is interested in joining our listener league, like definitely leave a comment, or you can like message us on Sleeper. I am at Dan Fortune 500 on Sleeper. So that's probably the best way, because like if you just put a comment here, like I might miss it, or I don't know if YouTube saves those if it's in the live chat. But yeah, just send me a message on Sleeper at Dan Fortune 500 and let me know that you're interested in joining the listener league. And yeah, if we can get 12 of us together. I mean, I guess we got 3 now because me, you, and Joey. Although I don't know, Blake, like we haven't talked about it yet, but like we could always co-manage a team if we had like if we had need an extra spot for someone. But
we'll probably end up doing that if we if we need.
Okay, so we have at least up to 10 more spots available in the listener league. I will co-manage. Joey's got a team with more spots.
Hawkeye's down. I know I mentioned to him. I'm sure
Hawkeye's into it. Okay, awesome.
Oh yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, Hawkeye's always seems to be here for these streams. So great having him here. He's always commenting in the chat.
And he's I gotta check. I'll check that later in the DM, whatever. But I had a message, assuming it's from Hawkeye's, but he might be our next guest on the for the live stream.
I just want to say, like, I've met so many cool people. Like, just in like the last few weeks, I feel like since we've been like live streaming again, and we had everyone like joining us, watching these, like talking in the chat. Like Joey's like joining Dynasty leagues. Like we got the listener league started. We got all these other guests lined up for the live streams. It's just been so much fun, like connecting with all you guys. Like everyone just seems like so cool. Like I just can't believe like how many like awesome people I've just met through like playing Dynasty on Sleeper. It's just been like so much fun lately. So just thank you everyone for the support. Definitely subscribe if you haven't yet. Like that really helps us grow and encourages us to keep like doing all these live streams and everything. But yeah, just thank you so much for everyone. It's just been like amazing lately.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like, you've been meeting some good managers, and like, we were talking about, also, in the future, we're saying, if we get, our top managers going, like, we might like create just just like a powerhouse, just like the greatest Dynasty managers there is, like, the most active guys.
Like the best league mates, the best trade partners, like there'd be like zero dead weight in this league. So like
because every
come up with a name with it, but it would just be like like the goated like Dynasty league mates league or something to that effect.
Dude, every league, unfortunately, like I have so many good people in my leagues of just like across leagues, but it's just like a guy here, a guy there, whatever. And there's just like in some leagues there's like 6 guys that just like they're just checked out. And the league's still great.
It's
the league's still great, and they'll end up making trades in season and stuff like that. But it's like, dude, Dynasty is like an off-season thing. Like I get it. Right now we're waiting for things to happen, but man, like, come on, let's like. Can you imagine being in a league with just like 11 other managers like us, basically?
Oh my god, like
there'd be deals going down every day.
I can't imagine like there'd be like 10 trades being completed.
Dude,
it'd be like absurd. Like
you guys would be scrapping over Amari DeMercado and Chris Rodriguez,
McIntosh and Carter.
Now there's a league where you'd be caring about roster spots because you can't drop Kenny McIntosh and
I want like a start like 15 league where like Kenny McIntosh is like in a starting lineup. Like that's my dream. So maybe someday.
Yeah, and for the listener league, Joey was asking about what we think the format will be. We hadn't really talked about that, but I'm thinking we make it fun. Maybe a little bit. I guess we could kind of gauge what people want.
Yeah.
But I think we make it a little bit fun, however we do that.
Maybe like a small point per carry, maybe like a 0.15 point per carry, something like that. Maybe start 12.
Yeah, we can certainly gauge what the people like.
I know. I really have come around to big play bonuses.
Okay.
Because I think it's fun when like the Jameson Williams like aren't punished for like having one catch for a 60-yard touchdown rather than like,
Yeah.
multiple catches on the
9
drive.
catches,
Just
60.
like PPR scamming, yeah.
Okay,
So like
that's
I
fair.
kind of like the big play bonuses. They're really dramatic too. Like you get that long JMO touchdown, and it's a game changer.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely down to do that for the league. Yeah, something fun, something we all want to kind of do, and I mean, I'm thinking, yeah, I mean, a deep one. It would be fun to like try to get a start 12 going.
Yeah, because like originally we were gonna do. I was trying to talk you into doing star 12 for the break room, but you kind of ended up like playing it safe, just going with like
no one. I put a vote up, but no one wanted to really do it. And then also I wanted to do the 2 receivers as well, but like everyone.
Okay, because I was hoping
receivers.
to do like 2 receiver and 4 flex rather than like 3 and 3.
Yeah, but everyone wanted to do. Yeah, but pretty much everyone wanted 3 receivers, so.
I mean, that's fine. It wasn't the end of the world, but it would just be fun. Like if you got like really loaded with a running back, you could start like 6 of them per week, plus the 2 quarterbacks. Like that would be sick.
Okay, Joey just said needs help to draft, understanding how to draft in startups. Only did one last year. Joey,
we had I think our first live stream once we returned a few weeks ago. But we talked a ton of startup strategy. It's like one of the if you click on live on our channel, go to like it's like the first or second live stream that we did after our hiatus, and it's titled like I'll bring it up, but it's like I think it has startup in the name. I'll check right now, but we talked a ton of startup strategy in that live stream.
Oh, dude, 100%. Like, don't do a startup without without coming to us, and we'll
help you out.
I will debrief you on every minute strategy of a startup in any way possible.
Yeah.
If you need me to join, and because here's what we're talking about is like eventually if we get things going, how like people like for the channel people like to do roster reviews and stuff like that. I was thinking like, dude, it would be so much fun to just like if someone wanted like the premium service or something, whatever, it's sometime in the far future, like I'll just jump in a startup with them and just like help them navigate like basically everything in the startup, and let them have their own draft, but advise them on there's just startups. There's so much like micro edges you can get.
Right.
There's so many mistakes you can make, like so many it's not even funny. That's
talk to Blake. What's your sleeper? It's at Diggs.
Yeah, it's at Diggs 2663. It's right here. But here's the thing too. We wanted to make a and actually Hawkeyes, by the way, was a trade magician in the startup. He must have done like 20 trades in the startup. I've never seen anything like it.
Wow.
I'm sure Hawkeyes has also done plenty of them as well. But the for startups, like I really want to get, and we're gonna plan on doing this at some point here sooner than later, because we just recorded our first video, since our hiatus there, but startup video is like literally like priority number 1, and the thing is like I seen the videos of people saying do this in the startup, do that, but like there's much more to go into than the basic don't do this and don't do that. We
you just remember detail. Blake, also in addition to that live stream I mentioned, which by the way it was 2 weeks ago.
I'll
titled it live startup plus breaking NFL news, although there's mistakenly another live stream that was called that by mistake from 11 days ago. Okay. So it's not the one from 11 days ago. It's the one from 2 weeks ago called Live Startup and Breaking NFL News. So it's a 2-hour stream. We probably talked startup strategy for like at least half of it. So watch that.
Oh, okay.
Also, Blake, you made a startup strategy video solo like a year ago.
Interesting. Yeah, I made like one of the first videos. Maybe we'll refer you to that one.
Yeah,
as kind of a warm up.
So Joey, if you click on videos on our channel page, scroll back a bit. Yeah. But if you go to like
right here.
Oh, you finding it? Oh yeah, there it is. 10 months ago.
10 months ago. This is one of our first.
How to nominate a dynasty startup in 2024. But I'm sure a lot of that still applies to 2025. I would imagine. Right?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Check out this video. I'll have to like run back through, and I wonder, we'll pretty much like when
But
we
yeah, we'll probably update that at some
yeah,
point.
well, basically, this was like also like kind of like a test video as far as just like it was like it's the only video I made I think by myself,
Yeah, I think so.
and like one of our first videos. So like I don't
Yeah.
expect the, I don't know. I mean, I was kind of just like talking and yapping, and it's like 23 minutes long. So give that a listen to as kind of a warm
But
up.
there's actually some great stuff in there, you know? I mean, it might
Yeah,
not be the best, you know, production quality
yeah,
and we were still kind of finding our feet with like the YouTube thing, but like
yeah.
there's some great advice
It,
there. Like Blake is like the master with startups, so like
yeah.
highly recommend watching that video.
Yeah, like you know how Dan's like the master of down tiering, and we all kind of have our strengths and stuff like that as far
Yeah.
as things in Dynasty. Like one thing, like I basically have not gotten wrong in 12 startups. My flex is like I have not messed up a startup yet, and the one I did that I'll count as a mess up, like I'm still one of the top like valued teams. It's
Yeah.
just like I had literally the like unluckiest. I played the top scoring team ever in each week, and
Yeah,
I
right.
kind of just like I just kind of like punted it a year
Yeah.
because I just got super
Yeah.
unlucky. So
It wasn't your year. Yeah.
yeah, so I mean that's gonna happen, but I'll also show you Joey. Um, what stream it was. Yeah, we talked some really good stuff about our last startup, and like this is where my blood gets going, pumping. Some good startup strategy. We at some point in this stream, I won't turn the audio on, but I bet you it's around this area and somewhere in the middle, man. I'm gonna probably cut this and make a new video out of it, wherever we're talking about it. But basically, try to find a spot where we're talking about flexibility in a startup. If you get bored and whatever, maybe I'll go through it myself and kind of try to refer to you. Actually, that'll be easier. But we talked some really good startup strategy. Dan and I built like very similar starts to teams here, like not even on purpose. It's just
Yeah.
it's just
Like great
it's like
minds.
yeah we call it like I don't know what we called it like the yeah I coined a phrase for it potentially. It's like the competitive.
Oh.
Oh shoot, what was it? I don't know. It was like basically the point of the startup, though, to put it in like very short term, is like you want to build like a great like dynasty team that's like very balanced. But like if things go bad, like hey, you can go get the 101 or whatever, a top pick. But the thing is, you're gonna give yourself a lot of opportunities where if things are just go fine, like you're a top contending team, you have extra first,
Right.
picks like in future years, and you never need to go on a rebuild basically.
Yeah.
So
I mean, basically, yeah, either of our teams in the break room, like, we talk about you know, these recent streams, if you want to check them out. But like, yeah, it was a very similar strategy we both used.
Yeah.
And basically it's like, we both drafted teams that are going to most likely, we think, expect to be competitive now. But at the same time, like you said, if it doesn't work out,
Yeah.
like both of us have like, 2 firsts in 26, like 2 seconds in 26. We got some young players in addition to like a few, carefully selected veterans. So it's really about like kind of having your cake and eating it too. So yeah, definitely check out some of our recent live streams where we talk about it. I think it'll give you a really good idea what we're talking about and give you some good tips there.
Yeah, exactly. And without going anything beyond and yapping about that forever, it's like I think the best example, anytime we do a video is like this team here. This is my prize team. This team didn't make playoffs last year. Like this is a team that did not make playoffs. So like when you're doing a startup, everyone thinks they're gonna compete and win and stuff like that. And even Dan and I are thinking that. But the truth of the reality is you never want to like actually play it as if like you're a top contending team. You want to give yourself like we'll go with a strategy like of course in a new video and stuff like that of like the details, but you want to give yourself the opportunity to do that, but you never want to get like caught holding the L in that startup. Like it's just so hard to come back from, and it's wasted money and time and effort. It's not that hard to come out with like a really good team in startups basically.
Yeah, and Joey said he's gonna check out the video. I'm assuming he means the one from like 10 months ago that you made. So like that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know what you think of that. Feel free to give us any feedback, because we'll probably like make a new version of that sometime. So let us know if that's helpful at all. It also sounds like Hawkeyes and Joey are connecting a bit in the chat here.
That's awesome.
It sounds like they might be joining a startup together. So like that's awesome. Like
Yeah.
I love how fantasy and dynasty just like brings people together. Like so, that's been just like the best thing about this channel. So like that's awesome to see.
Yeah. Joey says balance versus always picking the best player on the board. Okay, you have a really hard time drafting for roster balance, and yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest thing in a startup, again, I'll be covered. That'll have to be like one of our next videos.
Yeah.
Like,
Now
a startup.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we actually might make like multiple, just because like we might make like varying.
It's a big topic.
Yeah, we might make like varying levels too of like startup strategy, kind of like a beginner versus like
we could do like 101, 201. Be like a college course here.
Yeah, exactly, and like. Yeah, that's the biggest thing is that, if you're having a tough time, like, it's kind of good to just take a step back and realize that, like, man, my favorite kind of exercise is, like, and actually, this is perfect. This is perfect for the video we just made. It's like, what's the difference between this player going in the fourth round, and actually, in one of them, what's the difference between a player going in, like, the 8th or 9th round and a player going in round 20? When you hear...
So when you identify those kind of, like, blind comp situations where it's like, wait, these guys are actually really similar together, but wait, they're going 5 rounds apart in startup.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's where you think about trading back 5 rounds to get that similar player, and can you get like a first and future first in exchange, or back or whatever. So like I think that could absolutely be relevant to startups.
Exactly, and if you come in to startups thinking I'm gonna get this player, I'm gonna get that player, boy, are you gonna be in trouble. Because you're going to be reaching and rolling all over the place, and that's the best thing. You got to be open to take any player, basically, at any value.
Yeah, just let the value fall to you. Like, like I wasn't planning on, like, drafting Saquon Barkley in that startup we just did, but, like, when he was there in the late third, I was like, you know what? He actually fits my team really well. He's a nice value. I'm just going to take him.
Yeah. I mean... Startups are just, man, they're so much fun, and there's just I just love like the detail that you can get into it, and every single you can just make so many trades and whatever. Anyways, so
definitely got to make some videos about that. So look out for that, but also look out for our next video with the blind comparisons. Like, that's gonna be really fun.
That's almost a really helpful startup video without even being like.
Officially a startup video.
Yeah. I mean, it's just going to open your eyes in startups to like, why am I paying
It'll get you in the right mindset.
Exactly, yeah. I think that's awesome. And then Hawkeye says, interesting, you can go 101 and 103 in your first 3 rounds, and you're likely to get 2 top running backs. You think is a great fit to build now. Team around that. Yeah, if you want to get like 2 young running backs, you don't have to go Gibbs and Bijan. We were kind of talking about that earlier. It's like, it is a huge price to pay getting a running back round 1, where, I mean, you could push it even further. Pick 6 or 7 might be an elite running back. And you can get those picks in, I think, round 4 or 5 turn is where they were going in our last startup. That's even less to pay. So if you want to build a team like that, I mean, rookies are actually like often in these drafts. I find like the best, like the rookie picks are always like the best picks. Dan was saying like it's true. People like drafting players over rookie picks.
Startups,
and then when you look at the players going ahead, I think Isaiah Likely basically went like the 201 or something, like before the 202, I think.
Rookie 201,
like there's no way you're getting that.
And he went over Mark Andrews, so it was.
There's no way you're ever getting that. Like I just don't understand. Like,
you take the backup with the starter. Like we love Likely and his talent and upside, but
you're taking the backup over a first, basically, or whatever, as close as you can get to a first.
Yeah.
So let's see here.
Now let's see. Cooper or Hawkeye says, I just think it's interesting this year. You can go.
That's what I just read. But
I feel like I didn't see that at all last year when Caleb and Marv were the 1-2. Felt like every team that had them just went completely young. So a bit of an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, it's a good point, because if you went Caleb and Marv like in drafts, you lost your first and second round start. Like obviously you lost. They were going on 1-2 turn, both of them.
Yeah.
So like now there you go. You lose your chance at like. I mean, that's a whole other topic. Like, I wasn't touching either of those guys. In fact, I actually traded all my picks away for those guys, because why not just go get Jefferson and Chase and blah, blah, blah. because they're going right beside them.
Yeah,
in
but of course, if
value.
you took Neighbors instead, like I almost took
Exactly.
Neighbors up over Marv and Blood, Sweat, and Beers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was gonna take both receivers, but then you talked me to Jaden Daniels, which of course was brilliant. But like, then I had to choose, so I went Marv. But like my heart was saying Neighbors, so if I had just like gone Neighbors, like, yeah, that would have worked out great.
Yeah, man. Imagine you went Daniels and Neighbors though in like a startup last year. Andrew and I, man, we had our hearts set in. No, Hawkeyes is in that league, and the one that's the same as the break room format.
Okay.
I was pounding the table for, to get my third JD share, in that league, and the thing is, Andrew was on board and we were trying to trade up, and it was just like one of those rare trade up scenarios because we were I think at like the back of the second or like the early third,
Yeah.
and or maybe both, and then like Daniels projected mid kind of second pick, and we're just trying to get there, and it couldn't happen.
Yeah, and Joey is suggesting that maybe we do like a mock, do like a startup mock on stream sometime. I think it's a really fun idea. And also, Joey, I know you want to come on a live stream sometime. That's even something like the three of us could do. Like basically, 12 picks per round. We could each like have like, what would that be? 4 picks per round, and maybe we could do like the first like at least like several rounds of a startup together, just to kind of practice it. Like that'd be a lot of fun. We could talk about strategy as we go. So if that's something you'd be interested in doing on a live stream sometime, definitely let us know. But yeah, I love the idea.
Yeah, exactly. We can take a look at the one thing I will say though about the startup. I wonder if we could. There's probably not anything better than sleeper, and unfortunately, if you've done a sleeper one before, they're not very good. The ADP is not the best.
Oh, the ADP, yeah.
I mean, we can still do it. It just won't reflect like a real like the mocks on here aren't great.
Just the three of us that are making all the picks, like we can make it realistic.
We could. It would just take a long time, is all. So we could run through a few rounds or something.
I would take that long. I mean, we wouldn't have to do the whole thing. We could just do like the first like 5 rounds, 8 rounds. I mean, something like that. I don't know.
That would take a long time, but we could do the first, few rounds, or we could pick our rounds because that'll take a long.
Yeah.
That'll take.
Yeah. I'm open to it. We could give it a shot.
And we get yapping. Like
fun idea.
One round might take an hour for us.
Oh God.
Like honestly.
Once you start talking, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is supposed to be like a.
I give you a 24-hour stream idea.
Like a 20-minute live stream.
Yeah.
If you're just gonna like. Because the idea is that we do like a short stream on Wednesday and then a longer one Sunday. But clearly that wasn't possible when Blake and I get talking Dynasty, and then we got Hawkeyes and Joey in the chat, and it's over at that point.
Too much fun yapping.
Yeah.
By the way, I was thinking if you want to go to 8 rounds of a startup mock, I mean that's a 24-hour live stream idea. Like we might not even be able to get through it in 24 hours.
We're not going to be sleeping anymore. We're just going to be live streaming doing mock.
Especially we're talking like strategy. Oh my goodness, that's
an all-nighter for sure.
Maybe here's the thing too, Joey. Maybe you want to come on also. We could do for sure the startup mock, but we could also do some rookie stuff. And maybe
draft a lot easier.
And maybe we could try to even relate that to a startup of kind of like where we're taking them around.
Sure.
So we can have some startup stuff and we can have some rookie. Stuff.
Or even do those on separate streams. We could do one of each. So yeah, we could definitely have some fun.
Yeah, no, I think that would be. I'm excited to do some like rookie stuff. We probably should do some before the NFL draft. Yeah, when we're getting in close there, and then post NFL draft, of course. We're gonna be hammering some rookie stuff, of course.
Yeah, and I'm also excited for best ball season, doing some of those underdog drafts like we were doing a year ago. Joey, I don't know if you play any best ball or do any like underdog, but like those are a ton of fun. If you're unfamiliar, I'm sure you would really enjoy it. But yeah, I mean, lot of fun stuff I had to look forward to, and it's just been so much fun streaming with you guys lately.
And now, Hawkeye says someone offered Daniels for T-Law straight up, declined because he wanted something like an extra third. That's right, they were very close in value last year in startups, at least especially. Kind of like back at the second in certain spots, and then I think as you went on time, Daniel started to push ahead because like we couldn't get him. Like he went mid second is where he ended up going, and one that Andrew and I did kind of later. And yeah. I mean that's a tough one right there. He won the extra third, and if you're confident in your guy, I definitely understand it. It's kind of like that Bryce Young versus McCarthy thing.
Yeah.
Maybe that owner wants the more than the 212 to go to Young, but maybe Young's a better quarterback. I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah, if you really have a strong conviction, like don't be afraid to. But when you just sort of like, yeah, I slightly prefer that guy. Okay, who cares about a third? But like, you can get in trouble. I mean, it's like when we traded like Ladd and a third to get Worthy, and then we thought we were up tiering. We turned out we were down here. Even though I love Ladd, but like the Chargers weren't throwing the ball, which like things can change. Like we got impatient, and I think because like Rice got hurt.
It was literally because we wouldn't have made the deal if
a guy there, and
we wouldn't have made the deal if Rice didn't get hurt. But because Rice got hurt,
Ladd was not an anti-Ladd thing at all. I mean, I was like pounding the Ladd all last offseason.
I mean, when we were doing that whole thing, I think we both felt like sick dealing away Ladd, and all the metrics were saying he's a great receiver, and it was like, man, I mean, Rice went down. I mean, this is a chance he could be a PPR scam, and we did start to see that later in the season, but it took a long time, and of course,
I think the problem is Hollywood Brown being hurt. Like they had to play like Worthy at like not as natural like receiver spot, and so like I think that was part of the reason why when like Hollywood Brown came back, like Worthy really started taking off.
And here's the thing too, we would not be kicking ourselves nearly as much about that deal if Worthy didn't have basically like one of the worst luck seasons. I mean, there's like a 2.5 minute reel of him getting a foot out of bounds.
Oh God!
Plays
every time I
back.
watched the Chiefs game, it was like, it was so close, like a big play or a touchdown.
There was like literally one play, if not two, in every single game, and they're not like some 10-yard catch. Like these are like 50-yard bombs for touchdowns. Touchdowns called back.
Wide open, like Mahomes like missing them, overthrowing them.
Yeah, toe out of bounds was a multiple times. Yeah. So like, Worthy right now, like, I mean.
Goodbye.
That's what I mean. Like he could be a good buy. I mean, I'm still cautious because he didn't score the points. But if he scored those points, like he's probably. He could be as high as a third-round starter pick. Seriously, like that's how many points were left on the board.
It's like I don't think like there's as big a difference between Ladd and Worthy as like the market thinks there is. Like I think it's a lot closer.
Agreed. Yeah, and when maybe we have our eyes a little more on that one because we literally made that trade.
Right.
And like. Every single week, like literally, we were texting. I remember that Broncos game. He had an opening touchdown for like it was a bomb, and it was like, nope, called back. His toes out of bounds. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you keep your eyes closed when you make a deal like that, and it goes south like that. But
I mean, we're still thrilled to have Worthy. I mean, we think year 2 breakout potential is there.
Yeah. No doubt. And I mean, that was like it kind of hurt to send him. I was saying earlier in the league. Like, I sent away Worthy and McMillan for a single first. Now, the context is I just got the 102 off the same manager, like doing the same kind of deal last year.
Yeah, you're hoping it's going to be the 102 next year again.
It's probably the 101, to be honest. The guy it's like, I was showing the team on the stream. It's right. Absolutely brutal. So, there I had to take a little bit of leap of faith sending away Worthy, but it was just a process move.
Yeah, Joey said Worthy is a pretty good buy, and the market sucks for him. Yeah, exactly. So, scoop up from Worthy. He says, I think you can get Worthy for the 201. I really do. Oh, my God. Like, I would have Worthy in every league if I could do that. So maybe I need to send out some more offers. He says, shouldn't be that way, though. Yeah, 100% agree.
Yeah, I wonder where the market is on Worthy. I don't know if you could get that for him in a lot of leagues, but I bet you could in some.
I received an offer today for Worthy. Pratt offered a 204 in Mims. That wasn't enough for me.
Yeah. Actually, Hawkeyes was saying.
I mean, if I was going to counter that, I almost countered. I was going to counter for the 107 in Mims. So I know probably the market wouldn't do that. I'm sure Prep would have declined. But that's basically what I'd need to even consider that.
Because of the playoff performance, Worthy has been climbing up boards, it seems. And like in our startup, he went late 5th, I think. So So he has been climbing up and getting like closing the gap between like the lads and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I still think he's potentially undervalued. My one
Yeah.
hesitation is you look at there are still really good receivers going behind him. They're just 26 years old, whatever.
Yeah.
The Waddles of the world. But yeah, Hawkeyes had a deal, which I mean, I was confused when Joshy did it because Joshy went all in 2 leagues I was in, like 1 week, and then within like a week and a half or 2 weeks later, he just like bailed ship and was like, "I'm," he put all his assets into competing, and then he, especially one of them, like it was like a week later, and it was like complete opposite. I think he might even won his week or something too. I'm not really sure. I'd have to think about that. But Hawkeye's made it one of those deals. He got Worthy for McLaurin swap. I think there was like maybe something else involved. I don't think it was 1-for-1, but it was, yeah, pretty much a 1-for-1. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, that was. I mean, McLaurin was hot, of course, but like that was definitely a smart move. Thinking ahead for the rebuild, you get those points off your team. You're Worthy on a rebuild.
Yeah, and it sounds like Joey's saying that he thinks that like people just hate the Chiefs, which is true. There are a lot of like anti-Chiefs people because they've been so good the past few years. So maybe that's part of why like the market isn't higher on Worthy, at least as high as we think it should be.
Yeah.
But yeah, Joey's saying he's seen a lot of disrespect for Worthy in the league that he's in. Then he says, especially because he was so overshadowed by so many other rookie wide
That's
receivers.
true.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, same effect as the Marv Jr. effect, but even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was such a loaded rookie class last year for
Yeah.
receiver.
I mean, you see where Marv is and Lad is like, yeah, truly with this Worthy thing. If he didn't get unlucky, like he'd be right there.
Yeah,
So that's a great argument for like, yeah, and the Chief people don't like the Chiefs. Overshadowed, yeah. I mean, I agree. Also, Hawkeye says, yeah, Worthy is like in that kind of that 106 to 107 range. It is true. I think the toughest part is like to basically someone might not trade him. Okay, if you wanted to go get Worthy, no, what am I trying to say here? Okay, if you wanted to get the 107 for Worthy, let's say,
Mm.
like probably in your leagues, no one's willing to give you the 107. But if you went with the 107 to go get Worthy, like you might not be able to get him. Like it's just that
right.
weird.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you can't do it either way. Yeah,
It's kind of like London with the 102. Like
yeah,
I was being asked to throw in a mid second, but like I literally just declined the 102 for London, like to give up my London in a second. But if I went to someone else trying to get that deal, like maybe the other way around, whatever.
yeah.
Like, or,
It's just kind of a conundrum where he's
it's
just
just
like not moved.
yeah, it's whoever like offers the deal or whatever. Whoever's getting the
People
offer is the
that
one
own that
declining.
player tend to be higher on that player. That's why they own them in the first place.
That's true, yeah, exactly. And then it's funny, Hawkeye's mentioned too, like, okay, so he imploded in that league and is rebooted his team, ready to go for season 2, although I think he needs a running back. Because I did send him an offer in that league recently. But, funny story, Hawkeyes. I was about to implode my team in like week 3 or 4 in that league, and I actually sent you the trade of like red hot Derrick Henry and like Mike Evans for like to get JJ McCarthy in there. And then like one day deal was on the table, and I was talking to Dan. I'm like, man, this team like it's a good veteran like kind of team. It's like it's like veteran, but it's got like a 6 second or whatever it was. A tons of picks on it, and he's like, yeah, just play it another week or two, see what happens. So I hung in there. The thing is, like, my team wasn't really losing because it wasn't scoring points. It was like I was just getting steamrolled by like week-winning performances, and I was like 1-5 though, because I still was under median, so I guess I wasn't scoring like the most points. Obviously, you're in the league. The team made the finals and then got steamrolled by that guy with like 340 plus points performances, but like I almost imploded my team as well, and I got very lucky to not do so.
Yeah, signs he's got to be patient and just hang on. Like signs that bad luck, experiences that regression and turns into some good luck. So like, yeah, you don't want to like blow things up too quickly.
Yeah, because I would not have. I'd be whatever. I would have been fighting for the 1-on-1 had I made that deal. And then I remember you were like willing to do the McCarthy one, and I'm like, well, I'm not willing to do it anymore because now I'm 3-5, and all of a sudden my team's looking pretty good. So I got to keep the boys, and then ended up turning those whatever Kittle and Henry into like Nico and some deal. Just happy to do.
And Hawkeye says, just wish I didn't hand out Dunze for absolutely nothing and waited too long to get my first FML. I messed up bad there. Haha.
Yeah, that'll be something interesting when you get on the stream, because I noticed in that league, I'm always looking in leagues and stuff like that, the one thing I noticed with your team is that you had Janu, you had the Dowdles of the world, and then you got your first back at that time. And at that time, like, if I get my first back, I'm peeling those boys out of there. Like, I'm taking what I can get. Now, Janu's a funny case because his values, like, almost went up somehow. Like, because, the market's like, not in on him, but, like, his value's maintained. But meanwhile, Dowdle's worth, like, he just went in the 18th round of a startup. And, like, you might have been able to get a second. I think you were asking a second for him when I was, because I was seeing if you wanted to get rid of him. But, like, and maybe if I was in your shoes, I would have just taken a couple thirds to try and make, he scored a lot of points. So I'd be interested to hear kind of like your side of that one. Because what did you end up getting with that pick? Your own first, was it 104 or was it 103?
And then Joey says in the chat, I don't think Odunze is as good as people think. I just have a feeling. I don't think he's close to an elite separator, but a jump ball guy. He's amazing. I just think Penix throws a great deep ball. Okay.
Yeah, no, Penix. It's funny that Joey mentions the Dunze thing, because I know I'm big into the year 2 receivers. Yeah. I know you have no hesitations about Odunze.
Oh, yeah. That's my favorite thing.
But my thing is when I was watching Odunze, I don't know what any of the numbers say. When I was watching Odunze, oftentimes I was going, like, where's that guy? Where's that top 8 pick or whatever?
Oh,
and so my hesitation with Odunze is, I think he's probably properly priced. But, man, I don't know. I almost want to see him, like, actually be good before, I know he didn't have that bad of a season, but
do you have a single Odunze share, Blake, at this point? Did you ever draft one?
No, like his price is, I guess, it stayed the same, for good reason. We know these year 2 receivers are good, and then obviously all the Caleb and Ben Johnson stuff. If he didn't have Ben Johnson, I think I'd be, like, actually anti-Rome, but of course it's hard to be anti-Rome with all that stuff going on.
I mean, I got a great deal on him in Grease Bowl.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I got a Doomsday, and then I got even Marshawn Lloyd thrown in. I just had to pay the 202 and like 212, I think.
Yeah, I mean, now we're talking. Like,
now you're in on Doomsday.
Because Odunze right now, he'd be about that 105, 106 still. I mean, again, I don't think it's unreasonable.
Yeah, the market's still pretty high on him. I mean, I was also trying to get him in Blood, Sweat, and Beers, but Prep wants like 2 firsts for him. I just wasn't willing to quite pay that. So.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I'm still not trying to have, to be too in or out, especially on a player like, as talented as, Odunze is coming out of college and stuff. But this, I think that's like an episode, for the off season, the truth serum. It's like what's going on in your brain, or what do you feel, and like your intuition of like, if you have the truth serum, like, is it like, I'm a little nervous about, maybe Odunze for just like not even really anything good reason that's like explainable. It's just I don't know, wasn't really impressed with me.
Yeah.
No. So
I
think those are kind of fun.
Just felt like an easy buy, but like I can't say I'm watching like every Bears game and grinding the all 22 tape and everything like that. So I mean, take it for what it's worth, but I mean, on paper he seems like a pretty good buy. But I mean, he's got to be at the right price. I mean, I
definitely would buy him if it was right price, but I don't know if I'm getting that is all.
Yeah, I mean, you're not getting that Grease Bowl deal in 99% of leagues, so.
Exactly. So then, and then Hawkeye said, fun times. Both our seasons went in opposite direction after that trade. And, dude, I swear, I know Joshy was like 6-0 or 5-1. I specifically remember in that league, because then he went on a downward spiral. But I wonder what your record was, because I probably sent you that offer, yeah, with you being a good team and all. So it is funny though, yeah. We didn't make that trade. It was there one day. It was there on Saturday night, I think, and then it was pulled like Sunday afternoon or whatever. Um, and yeah, the seasons went completely opposite. So it's kind of funny just to look back. One trade, um, you know, drastic whatever outcomes.
Yeah, no, Hawkeyes is saying that Odunze, pretty good route running in my opinion. That was the one thing I was sure about him in college. He was an elite separator. I think he can definitely break out. Yeah, that echoes my feelings about it. I mean,
Yeah, his
like it
college
was a good
stuff
prospect.
was
I mean, it didn't seem like there was anything really he couldn't do. He just seemed like just to be a really good all around receiving prospect. I mean, most people were saying like he was even better than JSN, who was like the wide receiver one in the class before. So
yeah.
like, I didn't have too many concerns. Like, I just think like you got to think of the context. Like DJ Moore's there, he's going to earn targets. Like Keenan Allen is just like an awesome veteran receiver, is going to earn targets.
Yeah.
You got a rookie quarterback in there. It wasn't maybe the greatest coaching, but now
Yeah.
you got Caleb going into year two. Keenan Allen's gone. You bring Ben Johnson in there. I mean, like you go from like the worst possible scenario to like the best. So like, you know, how is there not going to be like a major improvement there? You know, even
Yeah.
if he's like, you know, he doesn't even have to be like the greatest receiver in the world, but like so many things have like improved now.
Yeah, there is a ton of good support. I guess when I was looking at, especially at his like actual numbers, like man, this guy's getting like one catch per game, like at the end of the season and stuff, and it's like, where's that? Like literally top prospect. Like how many times do you see a? I think that's where a lot of my the targets were there, and it's like okay, he did have a rookie quarterback and all that coaching situation.
I mean,
Like
you got two like
terrible.
awesome like multi Pro Bowl savvy veterans in there. Like you think you're just gonna like come in and like I mean some cases that happens, but like I mean Neighbors is competing against Wandale Robinson and Darius Slayton, whereas Romo Dunze is against Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. So which receiver you think is going to have the better rookie season? Like it's not rocket science to figure that out. So like we can only hold that so much against him.
No, it's true, but I mean, like yeah, maybe it's just testament of how bad the Bears' offense was in total. Because DJ Moore didn't have a great year.
And they weren't really using him properly.
Exactly.
Keenan Allen didn't even get hot for it until like the end of the season. So like it was kind of a mess there.
It's pretty much what's happened this offseason is like as good as can possibly be for Rome year 2 breakout.
Yeah. Exactly.
If they didn't get that though, do you have any idea where you'd be at on them if they just let's just say they hired I don't know, like what's
Mike McCarthy?
Yeah, just some like mid coach that you don't even care about.
I think I'd still just be willing to bet on like year 2 breakout for the receiver combined with like year 2 breakout from Caleb Williams. Like I'd still be very interested. And in fact, like you probably get better value on him because like there wouldn't be all the Ben Johnson hype.
Yeah.
So I think like I wouldn't be like quite as high, but the price would also be a lot lower. So it'd probably even be a better value at that point.
Yeah. No, it would be lower, 100%.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see some more.
In that scenario, he's probably like a super reasonable price, and I probably own like 5 shares of Odunze right now. But because of Ben Johnson, like I was only able to get him in the one league. So that's kind of the answer.
And Hawkeye says, "Oh, okay, wait, hold on. Let's go back here for a second. Odunze is more athletic. Yeah, Keenan Allen. Okay. Which nothing to scoff at. Well, yeah, if you're comparing to Keenan Allen." Especially, I'm thinking age 32 Keenan Allen.
Hey, it doesn't matter. If you can run those routes, I mean, look at Adam Thielen. I mean, like, Devontae Adams still crushing it at, like, what, like 32? So it's like, these old savvy veterans, like, can, still got it. Like, they can run those routes and, like, get open. Like, it doesn't matter, like, if they're in their, early 30s. Like, they're still going to get the job done. So, like, I don't think you can hold that against Odunze much. He's just a rookie coming in there trying to, learn the NFL and the playbook and learn, kind of get used to the NFL speed. So it's just like, I mean, that can't be easy.
Oh yeah, 100%. Sometimes we forget these guys are 21 years old. Just kids. Are you guys longtime friends? How did you meet? That's a funny story. We'll keep it quick here. My iPad's about to die. I wish I got like the chat up, but
Yeah, definitely a fun story. But basically, I joined a dynasty league, Blood, Sweat, and Beers. It was like my third dynasty league, and didn't like. I only knew like one person in it. Basically, I didn't know Blake at all. He's just a random league mate. And so basically, like we had negotiated like a couple trades, but he hadn't talked very much. And then one day I'm watching the YouTube channel Dynasty Trades in 5, and all of a sudden I see, Diggs 2663. He had like submitted a trade to, get reviewed. I'm like, oh my God, like it's Diggs,
Yeah.
So I messaged him like, hey, I saw you on Dynasty Trades in 5, and you were like in Mexico at the time.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, yeah. You're like, I think you said like, oh yeah, I forgot I even sent that in there,
Mm-hmm.
So I told you what like the guys thought of your trade, and like they thought you got fleeced in it.
Because one of them was Scott wasn't there and Shane.
Yeah.
Like I made this like
They
block.
didn't like it, but yeah, we don't really, we like Scott better.
Yeah, I mean you should go look at Shane's leagues on Dynasty Daddies. All I'll say.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, that kind of got us talking, and then obviously like since we were talking about a YouTube channel. You had mentioned that, like, you occasionally like make a little YouTube content, about like Dynasty. And I was like, oh wow, that's so cool. Like, and then I just like said, I don't even know what made me say it, but like I'm like, oh, if you ever need like a guest on the show, let me know. I'd love to come on and like talk some Dynasty. And you're like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. And so like we met up. We did we recorded a video, and then Andrew joined us too, at RB Squishy. And he was like originally on the channel for a while. It was like the three of us, and then he eventually like started his own channel. He's like more focused on that. It's just his name, Andrew Prangle, I think is how you say his last name.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like DFS Daddy, like with an underscore. Yeah, check them out on YouTube if you like that kind of thing. But yeah, he's doing well with his channel, and but yeah, that's pretty much it. And then like we just got along great, and like we become pretty good friends. We're constantly like talking on the phone, like talking Dynasty for hours. So eventually I said like, we should just like live stream our phone conversations, like that could be like its own podcast. So that's kind of like what our live streams now are basically.
Yeah, and hey, we got to go back to this trade because this was the funniest part to me because I was in Mexico and the video was already out for a little bit. So I was like, okay, I'll get a chance to check it, and I don't think you said anything, and I'm like, what is Shane talking about? Because he was the only one that even like talked about it on the stream. And the trade was, off the top of my head, it was I traded back from the 101, the 105, and like I am bare bones for assets because it was a full rebuild. I hit on like Puka and Rashid Rice, and that was about it. Like everything was in picks.
Yeah.
I moved back from 101 to 105. I get James Cook and I get Addison. Basically, is the deal.
Yeah.
I think I might have thrown back like a second or third round pick or something. Yeah, like a late second or early third. So I got James Cook and Addison to move back 4 spots.
Yeah.
Shit, I hate it. Well, whatever. I don't know. He was like ripping into me, and I'm like.
The funny thing is, like Shane is actually a James Cook guy, and then James Cook goes on to have an awesome, amazing season. But you actually traded James
Cook away,
deal.
But God.
And then I flipped James Cook, so like neither even benefit.
So
we were really smart on that one, but who knew he was going to score that many, damn touchdowns with Josh Allen there?
Yeah, no, definitely not me. So anyway, I thought it was like funny too. But the thing is, like, I was getting absolutely ripped on it. Like, I don't know, man. I thought it was a good deal.
But if you hadn't sent in that trade Dynasty Trades in 5, and I hadn't just like happened to be watching their like stream and seen that, like we probably never would have like talked and like become friends and like done this channel together. So it's funny how like one little thing can have like such a huge impact on your life. But yeah, it's been a ton of fun, and that's basically the story. But we've never met in person actually, because like you're in Canada, I'm in Michigan, northern Michigan. So yeah, it would be fun to like meet up in real life sometime. I was kind of thinking like,
love to go Vikings.
Do like a draft party for like Grease Bowl or something like in person. Like that would be so much fun.
Yeah, we'll have to go do Vikings Lions game.
Oh yeah, totally. Oh man, I would love that. That would be awesome.
Yeah. So, But then Trent from Grease Bowl and Cody, we went up to. I guess we've only done it one time. We go up to Buffalo.
Oh, okay.
So maybe we'll roll up to Detroit or something like that, or you come to Buffalo or
Or I could cross the border. We could like meet in Windsor.
That's right. Yeah, but there's no football games going on there. Come on.
Yeah, that's true. But
Yeah, get a football game going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then let's see. Top 10. Okay.
Yeah, the chat keeps going. It's tough to even keep up with these comments.
Okay,
but yeah, Hawkeyes and Joey are just lighting up the chat.
Yeah, this was the 20-minute stream, and we're 2 hours in.
They're going on
Classic.
3 probably at this point.
Bears are atrocious. Okay. Okay, so here's my thing with Odunze. This is where I get iffy on him. It's nothing against him, but look where he's going in startups. He's actually going ahead of T. Higgins pre-contract. But now he better not be going ahead of T. Higgins now. He's going well ahead of Addison, and yeah, I mean we better be in line to see him put up Higgins and Addison numbers. Otherwise, you shouldn't be going ahead of them. Right? So I don't know. There are so many good options at receiver, which is I think my big problem with Odunze. I think that's just my issue is with some players.
How many receivers can gain value like Odunze can if he comes out week 1, puts up 100 yards and a touchdown? He's going to skyrocket.
It's true. The guys behind him may not necessarily. But here's the thing too, is if he's completely mid, and we had all this stuff happen for him off season. Okay, he'll keep his value. I understand that, but it's man, that's going to be a hard guy to potentially move. Really just relative to expectation with being attached to Caleb, all that stuff. What if we're 5 weeks in and it's we're still waiting for the breakout? Now that's a chance to buy him, maybe. But
to me, that just seems so unlikely. I mean, this just seems like the biggest slam dunk ever. I mean, I've already laid out the case. I won't repeat it, but everything is improved. This just seems if you can get him at a reasonable price, a first plus, mid first plus or something, you got to throw something in. To me, it's a no brainer.
But DJ Moore's still there, and so I'm just saying,
they can both
DJ
eat.
Moore.
They can both eat. We got Keenan Allen out of there.
Yeah,
we're good.
I'm interested. I'm putting Odunze into this bucket of Rice and the Jaden Reed, and just he's a guy I'm pretty interested to see.
We got to do a Jaden Reed video because we've probably talked more about Jaden Reed in our phone calls recently than any other player by far.
Yeah.
And I was in on Reed so much last offseason. He comes out doing amazing, and then the Packers start running the ball, and then he falls off. And then I was kind of feeling burned at that point, so I was kind of I'm out on this guy, But Blake has talked me back into him, so I've recently acquired a share. So I got him I sent away Khalil Shakir, who of course has been a big topic on the stream lately. So yeah, I sent Shakir. I also had to send the 209, but I had a lot of picks. I didn't really mind losing it. But not only did I get Reed, I even got Rico Dowdle kicked back in the deal, which is kind of fun. So I was happy with that. Yeah. Maybe a slight overpay, but I think it'll age well.
Yeah, it was just an example of you got the picks to kick around. I just gave my case for Shakir versus Reed especially. And that's the thing with Reed is I'm still I'm not running to get him, but he's a very interesting case, and yeah, Dan and I have talked about it like crazy. But
we'll do a video on it and we'll get into it deeper than we can now because I'm kind of fading here. We probably got to get to bed here sooner than later. But you guys have been amazing. I mean, we still got 5 people in here watching. I can't even believe there's anyone left, and you guys are still lighting up the chat. So thank you so much for the support. This is incredible.
Yes, let's go through the last comments here. Because I'm loving the conversation here.
I mean, Blake and I could literally talk Dynasty all night. We love this stuff.
It says Cooper says feels like Odunze is already at JSN price without showing JSN production. Fair. He's actually not. Yeah, he's not going too far behind them. I mean, still a gap of what? Let's call it JSN. He's around mid third.
Here's the thing. I think the only difference between Odunze's price this offseason compared to JSN's price last offseason, when he was entering his year 2, is that you have this whole Ben Johnson thing. You also get the Keenan Allen leaving. Whereas with JSN, it was just sort of like a blind faith that you just needed to have in his talent as a prospect, and okay, he's going to get better in year 2. But like it's so much more obvious with Odunze, so I think that's why he cost more than JSN cost last year.
Well, he's talking about their price now, like based on mid, depending on your startup too. Like Odunze goes mid to late 4th, so yeah, there's like a round between them now.
But that's my point. Yeah. If you didn't have like Ben Johnson coming in and everything, and like one of the big target earners and Keenan Allen leaving, then his price would be less, and then it would be more proportionate to what you would expect.
I see. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Although like JSN did have good. I think the one thing is that Lockett re-signed, which tanked. That it shouldn't have been probably anything really to worry about.
Yeah, that never should have mattered that much. We knew Lockett was on his last legs. That didn't even matter. Like if anything, that just let you get a better value on JSN.
Yeah, like he got the grub, which was the Penix and Odunze and everything like that. Coaching overhaul. Of course, it's not Ben Johnson level.
Exactly. It's a whole different thing there.
Yeah. So let's see. Doesn't have health issues as Higgins. Yeah, of course he's not as injury prone as Higgins. And then last thing, Odunze. See here. Okay, here's the one thing. Odunze are worthy more yards in 2025. I'm fine if we want to bet Odunze just simply because he's going earlier and stuff like that. But like, I mean, worthy big play guy. I don't know. That's a tough one.
All right. So wait. Who's saying that?
Joey is saying, what do we all think here? Worthy or Odunze more yards in 2025?
That's a great question. I mean, I'm really high on both players. Oh man, that is a really, really tough one. Gosh, what do you think, Blake?
Well, I'm gonna initially say I the toughest part with Worthy though is the Rice thing, but
it's tough with Rice. I might have to.
I don't really care.
Like we saw more in his rookie season, so if he now takes a leap, I mean that could really put him into quite the level of like receiving yards that he could rack up in year 2, especially with the big plays. Yeah. So maybe slightly Worthy, but man, like that's like a coin flip. I really think both guys could have awesome second years. I mean, I could see both of them having like 1,200 plus yards. I mean, I don't think it's that crazy to think.
It's actually funny looking at these guys. They're literally identical yards per run. Slightly more target rate for Worthy. Just looking at
even with Worthy getting so unlucky. So imagine
that's like I wish we could see how much just how unlucky he got.
Yeah. There's probably a video online you could look up of like I mean
of like just to know the numbers of like how many fantasy points you would have if like the toe was in and the PI didn't get called, stuff like that. So I'll give it close, but the fun part about it is Worthy is cheaper for it's a good dynasty perspective to kind of compare them.
I could say maybe like Odunze has a little more upside because like I could see Odunze like really being like a target hog, whereas like with Worthy it's going to be like more big plays. Although I don't know. I mean, I guess if we're not talking PPR points, but just receiving yards.
Yeah. Odunze can make big plays, of course.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a toss up. I mean,
it really is a toss up.
Yeah, I really don't have a strong opinion on that one.
That's a great question, though. I mean, yeah, you got us on that one.
Yeah, and that's a fun one because Worthy was the TD scorer despite all the bad luck, and of course, again, we're just talking about the bad, the overhaul now for Rome. But like, if you think Worthy is going to score more or have more yards, I mean, it's the Chiefs' offense. He's a big player. I mean,
we just need that Chiefs defense to get worse somehow. That's the big obstacle with Worthy in general.
Yeah, and they don't float on the field too much. Exactly, because their defense is it's just too good. They don't really need to. So that's the downside. But hey, to get Rashee Rice back and I mean teams are. You got to assume are going to want to shut down this Rashee Rice the way that they're playing in the earliest season, or just like players like that and Kelsey over the middle, because the Chiefs aren't bombing it deep. It's been a couple seasons now where Mahomes has been straying away from the deep ball. It'll be interesting to see how like kind of these defenses and the Chiefs offense what's it called there. It's getting late, but. Yeah, how they more for the evolution of the Chiefs offense here has been weird.
Yeah, I mean, we need to get back to like Mahomes throwing for like 5,000 yards and like 50 touchdowns or whatever. So, but yeah, Joey says top 10 wide receiver prospects should be dominant and polished and productive. Okay. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know how realistic that is. I mean, it's just not always going to translate. I mean, look at Marv. I mean, he's getting treated like a stud receiver with like the coverage and everything. I mean, it's not easy. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I completely agree with that, but appreciate the opinion on that.
Well, you just don't see him go very often early, right? Like, receivers are rarely a top 10 pick. I mean, that's very high.
Yeah.
Like, you're expected to do a lot as a top 10.
But I mean, the NFL will humble you. I mean, it's like, not everyone just comes in and dominates right from the start. I mean, even like Justin Jefferson needed a few games before he, got going. So like, it's going to differ for each player. So I don't know if you can just say like, oh yeah, if they're top 10, they're going to come in and just be awesome. But like, I don't know. But anyways, Hawkeye says, I like Scott a lot too. Haha. Shane is funny though. Yeah. Agree with that in both, referring to the Dynasty Trades and Five Guys, although they're not on the channel anymore. They're on the DD Fantasy. And yeah, I mean, let's see, what other comments should we highlight here?
His newest one is the other one that we didn't go over, and just he said that their price, like, it's a 50-50 between Worthy and Ardunze, but yeah, I mean, it's a good point about if you're playing this startup game and stuff like that. If you think there's similar players going to year 2, Worthy's at a decent discount compared to Ardunze, and especially when you're looking at the players that kind of go in the range, like the picks actually might not be like that many, just depending on kind of where Worthy's going. It might only be like a round or a round and a half later, but the big thing is if you look at the quarterbacks in that range, like there's a huge drop off. So depending on team build, it's a good point for sure.
So that's the thing. Like, if Worthy costs us in Dynasty, I mean, there's your answer. Like, I mean, at value, just buy up Worthy if he's cheaper than because I like both of them.
Yeah, that's my take for Dynasty. Is I'd be more willing to buy out Rome in an existing league when I feel like I can fit him into the team and afford to make the bet. But in a startup, like I'm not wasting a 4th round pick on Rome. I'm sorry. Like I'll figure it out another way to build around my team, I guess. So.
Yeah, and Joey's suggesting we should get press passes of the draft. That sounds like fun. Where is the draft this year? Is it in like Green Bay? It's in Green Bay.
Is it? Yeah, I have no idea. But
yeah, I don't know. Is that kind of halfway between where you are in Canada and Michigan? Maybe we could.
It's literally like straight south of me.
Okay.
It's obviously, of course, beside Minnesota.
Hey, if you guys want, Dynasty Savvy and Green Bay, Wisconsin, covering the draft live, like, let us know. Maybe we could make it happen. Who knows?
Yeah, he's referring to those the passes of like if you're NFL media. So, for example, that Mason Dodd or whatever. I remember. The AR draft or whatever, he was with, I think he was probably with Underdog or something, but he got the press pass and stuff like that. He's interviewing all these prospects on draft night, but you don't need to be like that. Like there's people on Twitter and stuff like that too that are the Twitter analysts and whatever tweeters, and you can get press pass and show up, and you can ask them after you can show up to the combine. You can show up. Actually, there was one on Twitter, a guy again, like he doesn't have, I don't even think, a YouTube or anything. But he had like the pass for the credential. Like, he was interviewing Mahomes and stuff before the Super Bowl, and he's just like some fantasy Twitter guy. So
what world we live in? I mean, like, hey, we gotta get in on that.
Yeah. So hey, I mean, we gotta get our Twitters going. You
gotta email some like PR people. Get the passes, reserved for Dynasty Savvy. And...
Hey, spread the good word, Joey, because look, we got to be there in 2027. Interviewing Jeremiah Smith and then all the boys there, Arch Manning. Like, let's get it going here. Road to 2027 draft pass.
I'll interview all the deep sleepers in the class.
Dan won't even bother interviewing those other guys.
Who cares about Jeremiah Smith? So predictable.
You'll be who's the next Kenny McIntosh?
Right. Yeah, I'll find him. Don't worry.
Yeah. And
any other comments we want to read? Let's see. Joey says, at their price, if that question is that much of a 50-50, doesn't that mean that Worthy is underpriced and Dunze is overpriced? because they're pretty far apart in startups. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you can only pick one or the other, I mean, you could draft both. I mean, I don't know if Odunze's price is bad.
Well, that's what I was saying about the thing is that like just the opportunity cost of other positions there is pretty big, like quarterbacks. But when you're in the worthy range,
round 4, yeah, I do like taking quarterbacks in round 4. I mean, like in our startup,
Yeah.
I took was it Baker in round 4, I believe. So
yeah,
I can't remember if Rome was on the board there, but like, yeah, I do like taking QB.
he was, yeah.
So
Exactly.
There's your answer.
Exactly. So, and yeah, that's what I was alluding to because, like, 5-6 turnaround with Worthy, like, there's not going to be any of those quarterbacks. And Bryce Young did slip, but again, I don't even.
Yeah, I mean, if I knew how far like Bryce Young and Tua were going to slip, and even like Dak and Jared Goff a little bit, like, I mean, I don't know, maybe I would have taken Rome and then gotten a QB later. I don't know. I didn't think about that one.
Yeah. And then more receiving yards, Henry in 2025, Henry Ruggs or Corey Davis. That's a toss up, out of retirement or out of jail. Who can get
because
the one?
Corey Davis, he was supposed to be making a comeback, right? I don't know.
I think it was.
What happened, and then Henry Ruggs. Yeah, I mean, he was trending on Sleeper a while back because God knows why, but yeah. I actually liked Corey Davis back in the day. He did have that like one good season. I was like, yes, I knew I was right on him. It was like a year 4 or 5 breakout. But
that's Rome Odunze is the next Corey Davis. That's all I'm hearing here.
Come on.
Your 4 breakout.
Hey, had a good season, Corey Davis. So
No, I liked Corey Davis. I actually was drafting him. I drafted the crap out of him when he went to the Jets the year after. And he was like actually really good. Man, that would be interesting to see his dynasty startup. I was looking at that not too long ago. His start with the Jets was like probably pretty exciting for dynasty managers, and then it just went absolutely dark. Like it was real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we should probably be signing off here. What do you think? Are you ready to call it a night? I mean, we've probably been going like 3 hours at this point, but like, dude, like this has been so awesome. Like, love having Hawkeyes and Joey here. Everyone that's joined us, like, thank you so much. Definitely subscribe if you haven't already. Like the stream, hit that bell. You'll be notified when we go live. And yeah, this has been so much fun, man.
Yeah. Thanks for watching the stream and hanging out, especially Joey and Hawkeyes and.
This was the inaugural Dynasty and Beers. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, probably normally not going to go this long. I mean, like, we were thinking normally like 30 to 45 minutes, but knowing us, it'll probably be at least an hour. So
we'll set a timer next time.
We got to set a timer. Yeah. But this has been awesome. Thank you so much again. Tune in Sunday. We're going to try to stick to our schedule. And that will be like our main live stream each week on Sunday evening. We're thinking maybe somewhere around like 9 p.m. Eastern time, but could be give or take a little bit. So
we'll see what Hawkeyes is saying too, because that's the plan. Is Sunday Hawkeyes join the stream, so we'll.
Oh yeah. Okay, so yeah, Hawkeyes is going to join us on Sunday. So yeah.
Hopefully. We'll still got to confirm, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully we make that happen. But yeah, we got so many great guests lined up from like our different leagues and stuff. Should be a ton of fun. I'm really excited about it. So we're going to sign out here.
Yep.
First Dynasty and Beers in the books. Thank you, everyone. We will see you on Sunday.